I loved Jock Jams. Wasn't that like our first cassette we ever got or something?
There were those burned CDs back then. You remember that? You could buy these mixed CDs before people could actually buy those CDRs.
Do you remember Whoop, There It Is?
Yeah, Whoop, There It
Is.
Is.
I literally full on had a whole dance thing set up to this with a couple of my friends. So we'd come home after school and Whoop, There It Is. I mean, like on repeat for probably about a good 4 or 5 hours. No lie to you.
Oh, man. Roz and I are showing our age, I guess. Although really you're only showing your age if Nick's in here and there's someone that's 20 that's listening or something.
Rocky? Really? Adrian? Nobody got that?
Rocky? Really?
What?
Yeah, that was kind of...
Everybody knows that movie. I don't care how old you are. Like, my son knows that movie. Like, don't do that.
Well, look, it won an Oscar. I think it won Oscar for Best Picture.
Yeah.
No, I'm being serious about that. I'm pretty sure it did,
I think it did.
Yeah. Hey, anyways, this is real news, by the way. Crown Plaza call number 865.
I'm not ready for news yet.
What? Why not?
I'm just not.
I'm actually going to start a little heavy this morning, too.
Can we not?
No, it's local.
Sing like Wheels on the Bus around or something?
I have too many other national stories to get to, and there's this local story that the Real News audience wanted to hear yesterday from County Commissioner Evelyn Gill. And it's only. Well, I guess it's
Ask
only.
Facebook. They don't want to hear it yet.
Facebook always wants to hear it.
They don't want to hear it yet.
There's only 3 hours of this program.
Yeah. I mean, we could do it in a little bit.
Hey, man, if John Adams wants to push me from, to 4 to 7 or something, even more comfortable then. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I would love to not wake up so early in the morning, but it's okay. It's whatever you guys, figure out. I don't care.
Well, look, there's a few other things I got to go through today. This Justice Smollett story is getting weirder and weirder by the second. Is weirder even a word?
Yeah. Okay, we can touch on this because it is getting, weirder is a word.
Let's say weirder is a word, right?
Yes.
No, it's just like yesterday it was strange. Yesterday it was odd. It was complex to the extent that it wasn't necessary yesterday. And by yesterday, I mean, we played this clip from Laura Ingraham. It's maybe even worth playing again today. And there's been more developments on this of Michelle Obama's people. Basically, Michelle Obama telling her people, but Michelle Obama in general, the entity that is Michelle Obama, getting involved somehow. And somehow pulling some strings so that the prosecutor, the state prosecutor, and I know I don't need to break this down, but fine. For those that don't realize, when you're charged with a crime, you basically commit a crime against the state.
Correct.
Right? It's a very odd thing. So if I were to, I don't know, if I were to pour some water on the floor and Roz slips and falls on that water, it's a very benign example, right? But she slips and falls in this water, and she sues me in civil court. Okay, she's suing me, Grant Henry, the individual. She's trying to get my money. Now, if for some reason, I don't know, I go punch her in the face and I'm charged with assault, the state comes after me.
Why you always use that as an example? I'm just trying to figure out why.
I'm trying to personalize the thing.
Yeah.
So happens to be sitting in front of me.
I mean, I get it, but like,
I don't need to. All right, sorry.
Punch.
I don't know.
Maybe trip. Maybe just like pull out, a little foot right there, and I trip over it.
I'm trying to figure out
why am I getting punched?
I don't know. Because, technically, I suppose, like, assault wouldn't be actually making contact with you. It would be just putting you within imminent fear.
I think
of harm.
Assault is making me fall, tripping me. Well, that's assault.
That'd be battery then, I think, at that point. It's a totally different conversation.
We're getting too legal right now.
All right, anyways, the point being is that the state charges you, and I don't even remember where I was going with. The state charges you with a crime, okay? It's not like Roz charges me with a crime, and then Roz has to go out and hire an attorney to then prosecute me to put me in jail. She would have to do that. She's trying to get my money. You understand the difference that I'm making here? I don't think I need to break that down. I get that. I'm sorry. It's a little bit too elementary. I get it. So in this particular case, the prosecutor, the person that works for the state, the person that is meant to go to a court of law, and the Justice Smollett stuff is interesting. I'm just wasting a little bit of time here in the next 3 minutes because, again, Roz said it was too early to get into this Evelyn Gill County Commissioner story. I say it's too early to get into that story only because we're talking about special needs kids, man, and any potential violation or abuse of special needs kids for me is a... I don't know, that kind of hits me in my core. Anyways, I'll get on the Evelyn Gill stuff starting literally after this next break, because I know people want to hear about that. I want to talk about it. I want to hear the Real News audience opinion on that. Justice Smollett, though, back to that. So yesterday, The state prosecutor apparently makes this decision to drop all charges. All right, fine. You could speculate as to any number of reasons for that. There was a lot of speculation yesterday, too, that Jussie Smollett's attorney was going to, I don't know, air some grievances that she has, or she has a reputation, if you will, for kind of being very open and very public about how the Chicago PD has misused and abused their power. I don't know, man. The whole idea was that it was going to shake up a bunch of controversy in the city of Chicago, and they wanted to forego all that nonsense. Okay, you could rationalize that, I get. And then the plot just thickened and thickened and thickened like you were making some roux, and you added too much to it, and all of a sudden you have a weird molasses-style paste. Yesterday, we was revealed that Michelle Obama's people reached out to the prosecutor, and they had some strange quid pro quo going on in the background. You do this for me, I'll do this for you type thing, where the prosecutor was actually trying to work with Michelle Obama, yes, that very former First Lady Michelle Obama, to drop the charges on Jussie Smollett. And even right there, you have to make a hard stop. A hard stop. And ask yourself, what in the world? Why? Look at all the other Hollywood A-listers, all the other Hollywood elite, or any other people in Hollywood that you know their name. Look at all the stuff that's been going on, the controversies surrounding James Gunn, the tweets he sent out, the controversies surrounding Kevin Hart, the controversies surrounding Roseanne Barr. Any given random controversy of anybody in Hollywood. I mean, come on, man. It's just very strange that someone at a political level gets involved unless they're trying to make a point. I'll put it this way, okay? You remember when Donald Trump got LeVar Ball and his brothers out of some Chinese jail or something? That was very clearly for a political point. A good one. It was good political capital spent. It did a lot of stuff for Trump, but nobody, even Republicans, nobody was sitting back and trying to make a claim that didn't somehow ingratiate Donald Trump to LeVar Ball's father. You don't know who LeVar Ball is? He's a guy that plays for the Lakers, the LA Lakers, right? His father is just some, I want to say megalomaniac. He's a very, very eccentric character. I think he has a reality TV show on Facebook. I think that's a thing. His father, LeVar Ball's father, is saying that his three sons are the greatest basketball players of all time. Anyways, moving on. These three kids got arrested in some, China or somewhere. Maybe it was China. Maybe, I don't know what. I think I'm pretty sure it was China, but for stealing clothes. They got put in jail. Trump went over there or did some type of negotiation in the back end. They were let go. So if you get involved with some type of well-known individual, public notoriety, there's usually a purpose behind it. And I'm looking at this stuff yesterday with Michelle Obama somehow getting involved with Jussie Smollett, and the wheels start turning. Those. It's Conspiracy Theory Thursday today. I got a great one for you today, too, by the way. I got a great Conspiracy Theory Thursday. 5G technology. What's it doing to us? Where is it going? What's the purpose behind it? Are we going to cause ourselves cancer? And if you don't get into the conspiracy theory behind that, is it worth talking about? Because China is full on pulling the stop signs out there, going hard, and they're going hard with Huawei. Huawei is basically the Chinese government just putting I don't know, you're putting lipstick on a pig at that point. Huawei is essentially the Chinese government claiming that it's a private entity. Back to the Jussie Smollett stuff. I'm all over the place this morning in the first segment. Now what we figure out, after Michelle Obama's gotten involved and the prosecutor has convinced Michelle Obama to get involved and pull some strings, the prosecutor is now working on behalf of the defense, the person that she is meant to prosecute. So it's like this. The person that's meant to put you in jail now all of a sudden arbitrarily in your mind comes back and says, no, not only am I not going to put you in jail, I'm going to try and help you stay out of jail. Now what we have is yesterday the police come out and release the entire case file on Jussie Smollett, which should have been a very interesting thing, although oddly enough, an hour after or 10 minutes after, I have to figure out the timeline here, there was a gag order that was issued down indicating that the police cannot actually release any of the case files. And now there was an additional order passed down yesterday saying that the police officers they're not even allowed to give any types of interviews. Nobody can speak anything about this. This is the weirdest thing I've seen in a very long time, unless you posit that there's something going on that either Smollett knows about, was involved in, names, some type of paper trail. I don't know. I
have a quick question. I want to know, I was just on the phone with Ray about this, but...
You talking about Raythony?
Huh?
That's his full name.
Yes.
Is Raythony, yeah.
Yeah, Raythony.
Just messing,
Um,
right? He's gonna get so mad at me.
not at all. But so I'm just wondering, you know how, so do the Obamas know now that we all know that they're corrupt now?
Well,
Because like before they're like, made to be out the most amazing black couple and family in America, and they do so great and wonderful, and like now that this happened and it's so corrupt, like they do know now that we know that they're corrupt. Yes, I mean we knew that before, but like now it's super open and out in the public with it.
I don't know. I have no idea, and obviously, I don't think the Obamas care. Well, I think once you reach that level, once you reach that level, what Obama's already been able to get
I
away
think
with. I
that
mean,
they care about what how they're perceived because hello, look at them, in the White House. I mean, they didn't Bill Clinton it up, like they did everything that they were, to the public's eye, like they were supposed to do.
well, look, and again, I'm not sure. I don't think the Obamas care necessarily about what people think they read in the media because they also understand anything that Fox News prints. I'll read this right now. Anything that Fox News prints, they know they can have CNN, MSNBC, ABC, New York Times, Washington Post. They can have 50. For every Fox News, there's probably 7 different media outlets that they could have something print the alternative of. You get what I'm saying? I mean, but take it this way, okay? This comes from Matt Finn yesterday. Quote, nobody's in trouble. At Fox News obtained this internal email from Kim Fox's office asking workers for any example to bolster stance that Smollett dropped charges are not as uncommon and shocking as they appear. This is from the prosecutor. Hello, everyone. This is an internal email from the prosecutor. Hello, everyone. We are looking for examples of cases, felony preferable, where we, in exercising our discretion, have entered into verbal agreements with defense attorneys to dismiss charges against an offender if certain conditions were met, such as the payment of restitution, completion of community service, completion of class, etc., but the defendant was not placed on a formal diversion program. Please ask your supervising attorneys, I assume that's what ASAs are standing for, if they have examples of these types of dispositions, and we will work with them further to figure out on what case it was done. Nobody's in trouble. We're not asking for Jussie Smollett. Nobody's in trouble. We're just looking for further examples of how we as prosecutors use our discretion in a way that restores the victim but causes minimal harm to the defendant in the long term. This is the prosecutor asking other prosecutors, hey, give me some of the situations that I can justify letting this guy Jussie off. But it's very weird. She says, where we have entered into verbal agreements with the defense attorneys. They said very clearly there was no agreement here. There was no agreement here. We just went the whole segment on talking about Jussie Smollett. I'm not even getting into this right now. It's 7:23, by the way. Hit this first break. Put the Smollett stuff on hold for a minute. Let that simmer. Let that marinate. Give me your opinion later on. We're coming back with local Knox County Commissioner Evelyn Gill stuff. Be right back.
And it goes a little something like this. Tag.
Party over here, party over there. Shake your derriere. Whoop, there it is. I need some power to my computer. Oh, Facebook, you guys have been typing and whatnot? They're trying to take out, her name is Evelyn, right? Evelyn. Yep. We all think, oh, Evelyn Gill. That's what John Ashley was talking about yesterday. Oh, bro, y'all see that Trump vows to release FISA documents now that Mueller probe is concluded. And y'all see that Rand Paul said that, see, where'd that go? Yeah, here we go. Yeah, Rand Paul's now claiming that the entire Steele dossier push came from Brennan. I suppose while he was working for the CIA, which is just, I mean, I don't know. It's not surprising, but it's just awesome. See this freaking, and this, in my opinion, it's not what I said yesterday. This is not Republicans being vindictive. It's not them going after like Hillary Clinton for Uranium One. This is just Republicans being rational about the Ukrainian stuff's legit. Just simply releasing FISA documents isn't necessarily going to put anyone in court. It'll catalyze people to start talking, though. Oh, taxpayers have already paid that, Bob. It's 93,000. Yeah, that's already said and done. That settlement's already been paid. I don't know if it's been paid out, but the lawsuit has already been settled for that money, and it's coming from taxpayer funds. I didn't even get charges. Oh! Hey, 7:28 in the morning. Welcome back to Real News, ladies and gentlemen. Bob just asked me on Facebook what's the thing I want to cover today. I think he's talking about. Bob, you're gonna have to tell me, buddy.
Hey, hold on. There's the better audio for Facebook. He just Bob just said on Facebook, "What's the thing I want to cover today?" I don't know. Are you talking about the story I'm about to get to with Knox County Commissioner Evelyn Gill, Bob, or are you talking about Conspiracy Theory Thursday? Because Conspiracy Theory Thursday today, I'm just whoever wants to call in about this topic, just let it start marinating on your mind, on your brain stem. I think that's what acid does, doesn't it? Doesn't acid drip?
Not sure.
Doesn't it drip?
Never did that one before.
I think it drips brain fluid onto your spinal cord or
Yeah,
something.
I know that. Well, excuse me. I've heard from a friend that when you get your back cracked or like go to the chiropractor, no, like seriously, I guess like it can release like in different times of your life. Like I guess it holds in the spinal cord or something.
I honestly have no idea. I just know one of my real heady hippie friends told
Don't
me
do
once.
that. Don't do
No,
that.
I honestly don't.
You heard from a friend too, right? Is that?
No,
It's the same friend. We have the same friend.
One of my favorite things. One of my heady hippie friends. He was actually my freshman college roommate. Used to say, "Bro, acid, man. The brain fluid drips in your spinal cord, makes you see things." I was like, dude, I have no. Are you on it right now? Is that what's going on? Anyways, Bob, what I was talking about, possibly the question, answer to your question, Conspiracy Theory Thursday, what we're talking about today. We've started with 3G, went to 4G, then it went to 4G LTE, and obviously what we're talking about here is when you pull your cell phone out, if you're not connected to Wi-Fi, how do you get data run to your phone? How do you stream those videos, all that other nonsense? How do you download whatever you're downloading? A lot of people are saying 5G is okay, but could start messing around with your cells because the frequencies are going to be traveling at a much higher rate. It's probably not the most technically accurate way to describe that, but we're going to get into that today. Going to get into what it may or may not be.
You can literally get like Alzheimer's in 48 hours from these smart meters on your home.
That's what they're saying.
Yeah.
And it's the part of the problem is that it's not just cell phone towers anymore because the latency rate has to be so low.
I've already called to see if I could get another meter in there.
Oh,
it's
yeah?
like, absolutely not. This is what we got. So I've already
Some people
tried.
think it might cause cancer. Some people think it might, give the CIA an ability to sort of put out brainwave or certain particular types of frequencies or radio frequencies that will be able to I don't know, control thoughts or
right, mind control.
Yeah, a little bit like that. Some people don't even care about that sense of the conspiracy theory. Some people are just saying,
like
hey,
it's like a new age MK Ultra.
well, that's what the conspiracy theory is MK Ultra is now going to be able to be controlled by this little node right outside your house. Even if you don't want to go that far with it, that's fine. You could jump into the conspiracy theory of, hey, China is running rampant with this stuff. I mean, they are shoving this down the throats of third world countries right now. I mean, dude, I just heard a story in NPR yesterday. I don't know if Thailand's necessarily considered to be a third world country, but I just heard a story yesterday that Thailand doesn't even necessarily want Huawei to be putting in these 5G technology, and they're doing it anyways. China's just kind of coming in and just running a ram shot, just throwing up these 5G
China's always been doing what they want to. Like, don't care what their people want.
Before we get to that, though, that's going to come in the 9 o'clock hour. Anybody have an opinion on this? It's something that's been circulating for the last couple of days here. When did this headline come out? This is March 26th. We're now on the 28th, so we're talking just a few days here. Here's the headline from Knox News. I wish I could get it from somebody else. I don't like Knox News, but whatever, man. It is what it is. County settles lawsuit alleging abuse of special needs student by Knox commissioner. A settlement has been reached in a lawsuit that accused Knox County Commissioner Evelyn Gill of abusing a special needs student when she was his teacher at South Doyle Middle School. Knox County Law Director Bud Armstrong confirmed Monday. Now, if that alone doesn't upset you enough, look, okay, that first paragraph, fine, has been accused of, meaning there's allegations, meaning it's yet to be proven true. I understand that and even in this sense, there was a settlement paid. I'll tell you that in just a second. And it doesn't necessarily mean we're talking any type of criminal liability. But with that being said, that the whole thing is, man, if you don't have, let me just say this. I'm going to say this a couple times in the next couple of statements here. And I'm not talking about you, Evelyn Gill. I don't know you. I've never met you before. I don't even know if I've seen you at some of these functions that we all so happen to frequent together. But I may say this to your face if I ever do meet you, if it ever is proven true. If you don't have the patience of Mother Teresa combined with Gandhi, don't work with special kids. Don't get anywhere near them. Do you know what I'm saying? There's been a few select occasions in my life as a children's pastor where I have had the opportunity to work with special needs kids. And I've done it's as much as I possibly can to understand where these kids are coming from, understand the patience that the parents have. If you don't have the patience of Mother Teresa, coupled with Gandhi, coupled with Christ himself, don't get within 200 yards of a special needs kids, man. They are too special. They are too important. You don't need that kind of nonsense trash in your life. Oh, and by the way, this is where it starts to affect everybody if you have a special needs kids or not, or if you are an individual dealing with special needs. This is where it starts to affect the entire county. Here's the second paragraph. The county agreed to spend $93,000 in taxpayer funds, $93,000 in taxpayer funds, as well as court costs and the mediator's fees to settle the suit, court records showed. Another very weird, interesting twist in this entire thing. County Commissioner Gill didn't even file an answer. I'll tell you what that all means when we get back. 7:34. Hit this news break. Be right back.
I gotta go get some coffee, y'all. What should I leave y'all with? Oh, I know what I'll leave y'all with. Shut up. Justin. Shut up. Shut up, Don Lemon. Yeah, that's always a good one to say. Tell Don Lemon to shut up. Shut up. What about this? We were jamming after that yesterday. Here's what I'll leave y'all with. Does anybody else find it weird in that song? That Casey and JoJo song? Where he says, close to me, you're like my mom. Close to me, you're like my sister. He's describing a lot of relationships that should not also be coupled with describing your lover. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, Close to me, you're like my mother, like my sister. You shouldn't then immediately jump into describing a sexually intimate relationship. All right, here we go. I'll leave you with this while I'm getting some
Molly Boyko reporting to us there from the tents. So what's the next big thing, by the way? It's called 5G. Have you heard of it? Everybody's talking about it. Frankly, I'm not the techiest guy in the world, so I actually had to Google it this afternoon to find out more about what 5G, what is 5G? So I looked at Wikipedia, and here's what I found out that Wikipedia says. 5G, according to Wikipedia, is the latest generation of cellular communications targeting high data rates, reduced latency, energy savings, cost reductions, higher system capacity, and massive connectivity. There you go. A bunch of big words that may mean something to you, maybe not. But it does sound impressive, right? Who wouldn't want all of that? Well, some might ask, there's got to be a catch. So joining us now is our correspondent, Michelle Greenstein, with the latest on 5G. And I guess the question would be that, here's the setup, boom, is there a catch?
There is, just a small one. It might kill you.
Good to know.
So you'll find.
How so?
Well, a few days ago, actually, a group of scientists, doctors, environmental organizers, and concerned citizens got together and they called for the urgent stop to the deployment of 5G. They said that it's been proven harmful to human bodies, that this is an experiment on humanity, and that this should be called a crime under international law. Let's talk about today's technology, what we have going on today. Your phone is constantly sending magnetic fields in and out of each other. Whether or not you're receiving a notification right now, all of our digital tech sends this data back and forth, right, using these invisible microwave radiation signals, aka radio frequency radiation. That's today's tech. We have every cell tower, every router constantly pulsing with radiation, whether or not you're using it. Science shows that this causes DNA damage, cancer, among other things. But don't take my word for it.
And that's just with 4G.
That's just with today's technology.
Before we get to 5G, right now you got some of it, but not that much.
Let's listen to what Dr. Sharon Goldberg has to say. She's a clinical researcher and an internal medicine physician. This is what she has to say about what we're using today.
Wireless radiation has biological effects, period. This is no longer a subject for debate when you look at PubMed and the peer-reviewed literature. These effects are seen in all life forms: plants, animals, insects, microbes. In humans, we have clear evidence of cancer now. There is no question. We have evidence of DNA damage, cardiomyopathy, which is the precursor of congestive heart failure, neuropsychiatric effects.
So if 4G is already doing some of this, and I imagine if somebody walks around all day with their phone next to their head for hours upon end, they might be doing some damage to themselves. But let's get beyond 4G. How much more potentially dangerous will 5G be, and why?
Well, here's what's really dangerous about 5G. I mean, it's being sold to us as super awesome. You know, your toaster can talk to your door lock. It can talk to your self-driving car. Like, you have a thermostat in your home that knows when you're home. You have these smart homes. Like, it just really sold to us as being awesome. But the downside is that with this rollout, it will be impossible to exist in a city or to walk outside without being exposed. There's going to be a cell tower in front of every few houses, and this means that your personal choices, whether or not you personally use a cell phone or hold it 10 inches away from your head, that cannot escape you from your radiation exposure. So let's listen to what Dr. David Carpenter, another public health physician and actually a signatory to this international appeal, had to say. I asked him about the safety testing that's been done with this 5G rollout.
Okay. There's been no safety testing of 5G. The reason I think that it's dangerous is that there isn't any specific information to 5G, but we know that radio frequency radiation of 3G and 4G are associated with a whole variety of different human health effects. Everyone is going to be exposed to radio frequency radiation more continuously and at higher intensities, and that's going to cause more human disease. So if I was your big brother or your dad, and you're being a little younger than me and probably have a little more awareness of this stuff, and I asked you,
Sure.
So when you describe 5G, for those in the audience that maybe don't understand it, it's like this Alexa thing that's being sold to us. It's this thing in our homes where, as
On
you
all
said,
the time.
our toaster's talking to our phone, and our phone is talking to...
The Internet of Things, right? I
So-
mean, if you go online and Google Internet of Things, it's just like utopian
Everything is
visions.
connected, right?
Everything, yeah. It sounds super amazing.
That's what 5G will...
Shut up. Oh, that's cool, Richard. Is it really? Did y'all see Bird Box? Richard just texted me. By text, I mean Facebook messaged me. Let's be clear about our... Richard just Facebook messaged me and said that that movie on Netflix, Bird Box, have y'all seen that? I know it's one of those things that everyone gets super hyped about and then you don't want to see it. It's whatever, fine. It's actually not that bad. Bird Box was about 5G. That's interesting. Y'all see Bird Box? You want me to describe the plot? I won't ruin much for you. But it's sweet. I think that I finally found you. We're still on break. We all talking about on Facebook. Whoa, lots of comments. Y'all don't even know what I'm dancing to, do you? You want me to sing it to you? So y'all know what's going on? Listen. This is how we do it. It's Friday night, and I feel alright. The party's here on the west side, so I think I'm 40 and I get up. In my hood.
Tonight.
The summertime skirts and my guys.
I don't know that part. Forgot about the drive-by. You gotta get your groove on before you go get paid.
So tip up your cup
And throw your hands up.
and let me hit a party. Say,
What?
Yeah. This is how we do it. That's right. That's right. 7:44 in the morning.
This is how we do it. Man, is it really 7:44? What have I done? What have I talked about for the last 2 segments? I don't know.
Justice Smollett.
Justice Smollett. Actually, speaking of Justice Smollett, I think there's a lot of people that are going to be wanting to say that to Knox County Commissioner Evelyn Gill today. If you say if you say Justice Smollett's name in an Italian accent, it sounds like you're cussing someone out.
Yes, it does. Ray and I were actually just talking about that. How we're going to use it in public today. Like go to Kroger, if somebody like bumps into us, we're like Justice Smollett.
Justice Smollett.
But you can do it in different ways. Like you can yell it, or even if you whisper, it's like Justice Smollett. You know, it still has the same effect.
That's right.
You're good either way, guys.
As long as you shake your
Let's
hand
make
back
this a
and forth.
thing in Knoxville,
Yeah.
okay?
All right, so some people might be saying Justice Smollett to Knox County Commissioner Evelyn Gill. You want to know why? Here's the reason why. Knox County is reporting, Knox News is reporting this. Settlement's been reached in a lawsuit that accused Knox County Commissioner Evelyn Gill of abusing a special needs student when she was his teacher at South Doyle Middle School. It's confirmed by Knox County Law Director Bud Armstrong on Monday. Now, the county agreement was for $93,000 in taxpayer funds. $93,000. Now, look, frankly speaking, when you're talking about $93,000 in taxpayer funds when it comes to Knox County, okay, I understand. It's really not that much. I get it. Because it doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it any better at all. I'm just saying, I know there's somebody listening right now. It's like, okay, I know the budget of Knox County. $93,000 is literally a drop in the bucket. What is that? What's the percentage of that? Someone do that percentage math right now. And I'm sitting back saying, I don't really care, man. I don't. $93,000 is a lot of money. $93,000 is a lot of money. Well, it's not just $93,000. It's also court costs, mediators' fees. I mean, that probably pushes it well over at least $100,000. Now we're talking six figures. And regardless of what the total amount was, we're talking six figures of taxpayer funds. Taxpayer funds because allegedly one of our sitting county commissioners was physically and mentally abusing a special needs kid. I don't know. You don't need the totality of the circumstances to put all this together to say that, okay, there's something is going wrong here. I would venture to say I don't think that the Knox County people would have appreciated this. Now, there's no other way around it legally. I also understand that as well. But it does seriously call into question, does it not? Tell me I'm wrong. 865-888-TALK. That's the Crown Plaza call number. It's 865-888-8255. Call that number. Roz will get you on air with me. Go to Facebook. I love interacting with the comments. They've been wanting to hear this story since yesterday. I know John Ashley and Facebook's wanted to hear this story for the longest time. Tell me what you think about this story on Facebook. John's just saying they settled it because, in Facebook, John's saying they settled it because if they had fought it, it would have cost the taxpayers over $200,000 to $300,000. Yeah, exactly. Which is probably the reason why Evelyn Gill didn't even file an answer in this case. I will say this, though. Not filing an answer, okay, this is what an answer is, right? If again, using Roz. If Roz were to come up to me and accuse me of something that I had done to her, and I just don't give a response, if she comes up to me and accuses me of throwing this coffee beside me in her face and I just don't give a response, the public is now, there's a lot of legal strategies behind that, one of which John is talking about right now. If they would have fought it would have cost the taxpayers even more money. There's a lot of legal strategies to not filing an answer. Unfortunately, for the vast majority of the public, if you don't file an answer, if you don't respond to someone claiming that you did something to them, most of the public is going to think that silence is a form of submission. Most of the public is going to think that if Roz comes up to me and says, hey, you just threw your coffee in my face, even if there's no coffee stain on her shirt and I'm just, I'm just sitting back mum about the whole deal, most people that hear that account are going to think, yeah, of course Mr. Henry did it.
Houston, we have a problem.
Doesn't mean that I did it. Not necessarily, legally, no. But they're going to look at this silence being some form of submission. And this is the whole thing I'm talking about. In the court of public opinion, now we're talking about a publicly elected representative. John just said on Facebook a second ago, too. John just said on Facebook a second ago, too, that this individual is up for re-election again in 2020. And correct me if I'm wrong, Facebook. I believe out of the 11, or is it 12? Oh my gosh! I believe she's the only Democrat that's represented in Knox County commissioners right now. Am I wrong? Someone at Facebook tell me. I'm pretty sure that's correct. So what happens in 2020? Does this get brought back up again? Does this somehow reflect on the characters? On the character of her as an individual? That look, she's no longer a teacher at South Doyle Middle School. She resigned that position. She's still a county commissioner, though. Going back to Knox News, the money from the settlement reached with the boys' parents will be used to cover their son's medical expenses, counseling, therapy sessions, educational expenses, according to the court records. News Sentinel is not naming the family to protect the boy's identity. I like that. Students' parents asserted that Gill... Actually, I'm going to pause right there. We're going to get back from this break. I may carry this into the 8 o'clock hour. I think this is a very important local issue. I also think it has national implications as well. For something that you did either prior to elected office... I mean, let's bring Trump a little bit. Let's try and make this national. Should this be a thing that was litigated? We say this all the time, okay? People made moral concessions with Trump. I don't know, his alleged abuse of one of his ex-wives, cheating on wives before. We all know the Billy Bush tapes, grab, fill in the blanks, right? We all know that stuff that was either alleged about Trump or turned out to be true about Trump. We made moral concessions for him prior to the election. But the time to vet that out, the time to litigate those moral concessions was prior to the election, or at least that's what I've always said. Now, after the man's in office, we've all kind of made our peace with who this man is morally, his ethical character, if you will. Is this the same conception we have when it comes to our local government, though? Do you understand? It's not a great analogy to draw. I understand that. I do. Because the implications, in my mind, are much more severe at the local level than they are at the national level. Do you get it? I want my people at the local level to be, frankly speaking, much more ethical than those at the national level. Because I can see them. They go to church with me. We shop at the same place. I interact with their kids, they interact with mine. Case in point, they interact with our kids, right? I got to hit this break right now. We'll come back after this, and I want to get back into what the actual allegations were, what this might mean for her going forward, and then pose the question one more time for the Real News Audience today. Is this something that should have been litigated prior to her election, during her election, or do we have the allowance now to bring it back up now that the case has been settled? 7:50 in the morning. Hit this break. Be right back.
Dang it, Shine. Are you listening right now? Quit sending me scary AI stuff. All right, good, John. She's the only Democrat. I thought I was right about that. Well, Kelly, that's the final part of the story here that I'm going to get to in a second. Who is this? Michael Covington. The same story.
Of this local county commissioner who allegedly abused this special needs kid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know what song you could play for that, but...
I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real.
I don't know if that one's good enough. Hey, check.
It wasn't me.
Wait a minute. Hang on. Check. Do something real loud. Go, ha, like you do.
Me?
Yes.
Ha!
Okay, we were clipping out before. Is that a little bit better, Facebook? The audio-wise?
You were clipping out.
Well, my audio on Facebook was clipping out. That's true. The phone audio.
No, I feel like you're
What's going on with the audio over here? Who messed with my levels so much, by the way?
I don't know that.
Someone turned the entire gain up to like...
It's probably Dusty.
That makes sense.
Forever ago. We haven't been in there, though.
There's red light clips all over the place over here. Nobody ever did anything about it.
Rich was over there, too. So actually, Rich hosted, and then you came in the next day. So it has to be Rich.
Brett! Oh, that sounds way better.
But. Should we do like a shots fired song? No, that's probably bad.
Yeah, that's probably bad.
Okay.
What does it sound like if I put some bass? That sounds cool.
Yeah.
What about full treble? Oh, that sounds bad. I don't like that.
That's weird.
Yeah. No, that sounds all right with talking voice. Talking voice.
That's your talking
Can y'all hear the
voice.
difference in this on Facebook? This is like all treble, no bass. Something about that bass. Nah, bass. Nah, treble.
Talk Radio 92.3 and AM 760.
If you're moving into downtown, be ready to hit the brakes at James White Parkway and at 275. That'll be on the westbound side. Also, be ready to hit the brakes eastbound now between Cedar Bluff.
Yo! Is that louder? No? Better? Probably.
Down as well. Office Furniture Outfitters. An incredible selection of new and used furniture, whether it's your home office or a large business. Please, would you call Office Furniture Outfitters today?
All right. Back to Facebook comments. John Adams asked, why should the taxpayers foot the bill for this? So that implies that the parents sued her as an individual. I believe what it sounds like, Bob, is the parents brought the suit probably when she was still an employee of South Doyle, which means that the suit was probably brought against the school, which is probably why taxpayer funds were paid for the youth to pay the settlement. I don't know. That's what I'm assuming. If it's brought against a public school, you get what I'm saying? I don't think they brought the suit directly against her. John, you might know a little bit more about that. Let's see. Family filed suit in U.S. District Court August 18th seeking damages for emotional distress, alleging their son's constitutional rights have been violated. They named defendants. The defendants were Gill herself, Knox County, the Knox County Board of Education, School Superintendent Bob Thomas, and South Doyle Middle School Principal Andrew Brown. So there you go. Individuals were part of the defendants. More importantly, the reason why you have it in a federal district right there, U.S. District Court, is because you're talking federal situations, I suppose. What? Loading?
So wait, so we on air right now?
I am so sorry, guys. I mean, it's the cable, bro. Like, it's still loading. Like, it's still not on.
That's so
I don't
funny.
even know what just happened.
I just heard something like a siren squeal back behind this glass, and it was just, I didn't know what was going on.
I hate when it does
Ross
that.
comes back on and says, my computer is still loading. I don't even know what that meant. What does that mean, still look? So we're on air right now is what you're saying, right?
We are definitely on air.
Okay, that's awesome. I think that's fantastic. All right, so here's what we're talking about. Getting back to the story. Bob just asked on Facebook. Facebook, by the way, tell me how this audio is. I'm trying to tweak some levels. Bob just asked on Facebook here. John Adams asked, why should taxpayers foot the bill for this? And if you don't know what this means, if you just joined us, we're talking about Knox County Commissioner Evelyn Gill. Settlement paid out $93,000 for allegedly abusing a special needs child when she was a teacher at South Doyle Middle School. Bob asked, John Adams asked why taxpayers should foot the bill for this. So that implies that the parents sued her as an individual. I don't know. John Ashley goes on to say, I spoke with the law director yesterday, and he told me only a judge can remove. All right, that's a different story. We'll save that for a second. Answering Bob's question here, though, the family did file suit in the U.S. District Court. So Bob's asking, why is taxpayer funds used? Did they sue her individually? What's going on here? This is what's going on here, and this is the reason why taxpayer funds are used. The family filed suit in U.S. District Court. U.S. District Court. We're talking a federal issue, I suppose. U.S. District Court in August 2018 seeking damages for emotional distress, alleging their son's constitutional rights have been violated. Here's who they actually sought the charges against. Now, damages. They're seeking damages. This was not a criminal charge. They wanted some payout. They named defendants Gill herself, Knox County, the entire Knox County, the Knox County Board of Education, School Superintendent Bob Thomas, the superintendent, not the other Bob Thomas, and South Doyle Middle School Principal Andrew Brown. Now, Gill did resign her position in Knox County Schools in 2017, but she still remains a county commissioner. She did not file an answer to the lawsuit, and she declined to speak to reporters about the settlement before attending a commission meeting Monday evening. That's literally just a couple days back Monday evening. Now, we got to hit this break. Unfortunately, news, traffic, weather, all that. Stick around for that. When we come back, I'm going to tell you what was alleged that she actually did to this special needs child. And going forward, I have one other question to add on to it. The first question being, should we be able to bring this up right now, relitigate her election? If we can, does that mean we should try and file some ouster? Because there's one individual that's already doing this, meaning trying to get her out of office as a Knox County Commissioner, Michael Covington. Should it matter that Michael Covington individual also wants that seat? Should that matter? 7:58 in the morning. Be right back.
Real news audience. Can I tell y'all one more time how much I love y'all? For real? I'm serious. Y'all make it so much easier to do this show. I don't think you realize this, man. These comments make it so much easier, and y'all give me information all the time. I'm just going to stop prepping for these shows altogether. I'm just going to come in and let y'all run with the comments. Oh, for real. I might as well. Y'all are usually up on this stuff more than I am anyways. Oh, my hair's too spiky this morning. I did it in a rush. All right, let's leave y'all with some more 5G nonsense. That'll get you ready for Conspiracy Theory Thursday. Yeah, this would be a good one to go into. So that first, they're going to be talking about how 5G technology is a crime under international law, and then it's going to get into talking about the U.S.-China fight for who's going to capitalize on this 5G takeover first. It's going to be sweat. Going to be great.
5G technology is being sold.
Is that too loud? I think that's fine.
As the future. It will let 5G technology is being sold as the future. It will let you surf the web and download content faster than ever. But there's just
5G takeover first. It's gonna be sweet. It's gonna be great.
5G technology is being sold.
Yeah, that sounds fine. That sounds fine. I was questioning myself. I know what's up. I know what's up. I mean, not really, but y'all know.
Just one problem.
That means play.
Scientists and medical 5G technology is being sold as the future. It will let you surf the web and download content faster than ever. But there's just one problem. Scientists and medical professionals are petitioning against a 5G network rollout, claiming the health and environmental concerns. RT's Ashley Banks explains.
There's a lot of excitement surrounding 5G technology. 5G is capable of providing broadband speeds over 100 times faster than current data speeds. That sounds pretty impressive, yet some have serious concerns. Many activists are saying the rollout of 5G is a massive health experiment, which could become a global catastrophe. Author Robert Furstenberg, a well-known advocate for stopping the development of 5G networks here in the U.S. and internationally, says this network could cause cancer in humans and wildlife. Furstenberg is petitioning the World Health Organization, the UN, and the EU to urgently halt the development of 5G. So far, the petition has garnered over 40,000 signatures, stating the deployment of 5G constitutes an experiment on humanity and the environment that is defined as a crime under international law. Furstenberg told the Daily Star, quote, "This could become a global catastrophe." When the first satellites were launched in the late 1990s for mobile phones. On the day they were launched, people sensitive to these things got very sick. The mortality rate rose in the U.S. by 5 to 10%. Furstenberg says he even developed a condition known as electromagnetic hypersensitivity, which includes symptoms like amnesia and tremors. However, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, it says more research is needed before we know if using cell phones causes health effects. Although it may not be clear whether cell phone networks directly affect one's health, many within the scientific community remain skeptical and believe 5G is harmful to humans. And what some consider to be problematic is in order for the U.S. to roll out 5G, 300,000 new antennas would be required for the network to operate effectively. And Washington, Ashley Banks, RT.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.
The coming 5G networks will bring billions of new devices online, changing the way we work and live. It brings lightning speed to support advanced technologies and promises millions of new jobs. China intends to win the 5G race. The Made in China 2025 plan presented at the 19th Party Congress last year clearly states the end goal is not just to achieve technology leadership, but to eventually govern it.
We also have a very serious competitor who is pressing ahead in this direction in ways that the U.S. is bound to respond to. The issue of 5G technology plays into the larger picture of the U.S.'s national security, American economic security, and also to our stance of alliances around the world.
To date, at least 61 countries have an agreement or have announced testing of gear made by Chinese IT giant Huawei. 10 of them, including Britain, Portugal, Italy, Mexico, and the Philippines, have announced deals to start using it in their 5G networks. The growing number of countries opting for Huawei is tied to China's comprehensive bargain deals, say industry leaders.
The Chinese government, to make a long story short, is prepared to subsidize the cost of equipment to an unprecedented degree.
It's a multi-sectoral, cross-sectoral approach with energy companies and the web scale companies. And the push is, look at all of the economies of scale, look at all the advantages, look at the cheap equipment that we can provide. And then there's also diplomatic pressure. There's investment in the civil infrastructure of countries that are struggling financially.
China's advance is raising Washington's concerns about the use of Huawei equipment in countries that host U.S. military bases such as Germany, Italy, and Japan. Huawei is known to have ties to China's military and intelligence agencies.
Our armed services, who will look forward to being able to use 5G networks in Asia, in Europe, in the Middle East, to know that they'll be sharing that information across those 5G networks that are wired by Chinese companies, specifically by Huawei, is not going to make them feel very comfortable.
But veteran policy advisor Carl Rove says China is not infallible.
They got a reputation for shoddy equipment and shoddy deployment. The debt dependency instances in Africa and Asia are causing some people to have doubts about whether or not they want to be further dependent upon the Chinese. The third thing is the Chinese, even for a thing like this, don't have enough money.
The U.S. and Chinese leaders discussed the issue on the...
Isn't that clip pretty rough, y'all? I mean, it's the proverbial rock and a hard place, right? Because if we're not doing it, China's going to do it for us. That doesn't mean they have to do it here. But the military experts are now all clamoring, like, and think about the implications that were just in that last clip, y'all. The 5G will be interconnectivity of everything, of literally everything. And if Huawei, which is literally, Huawei is nothing more than the Chinese government operating through a supposed private entity. Let's be real about that, okay? Huawei, by the way, that same CFO that was arrested in Canada for doing trade deals with Iran while sanctions were going on, that Huawei. What they're worried about is once you start talking about military technology, drones, planes, tanks, intercommunication of troops on the field, all that stuff, the next evolution of military warfare, that's what they're afraid of. If China controls all of that sphere, I don't know what you do. What do you do? Just be okay to admit that America is no longer the world superpower and China's going to take... do you know what I'm saying? China's not stopping it.
And I kind of like the era that we're in, the post-truth kind of era.
And lately there's been a lot of coverage in the real news about the growing and booming business of creating fake news.
Well, I don't know. Maybe he was watching CNN fake news. What do you think?
You are fake news.
Sir.
Go ahead.
Let us return to the fight. This battle is far from over.
Check 1, 2, check a left, and 2, blue, all the way through, like you. Hey, welcome back to Real News, ladies and gentlemen. Crown Paul's call number right now, 865-888-TALK. Crown Paul's
sending
calling.
that to all the rapping producers out there.
I got rhymes for days.
I know.
For
days. You're going to get signed. You're going to
Yeah.
get signed.
Now, after those 2 days are done, my
jealous.
rhymes are over, you know?
I'm jealous.
But if I work 48 hours straight, the best lyricist, the voice of a generation.
Yes. Not at all.
I think it's my favorite South Park episode of all time, by the way, the Kanye West episode. I'm a lyrical genius, voice of a generation. If you don't know that episode, go look it up. Apparently, there's a joke that becomes the most famous joke of all time, and the only person in the world that doesn't understand the joke is Kanye West. Literally, the only person
totally makes sense
in the entire world that doesn't get the joke.
Sounds about right.
I'm a lyrical wordsmith. I'm a genius. I'm the voice of a generation. The whole episode, he's trying to break down what this joke means. I can't repeat the joke on air, but it's not a bad joke. It's just not FCC appropriate. Kanye West, the voice of a generation, the one guy that can't understand the joke. Anyways, back to what we're talking about now. I say the Crown Plaza call number one more time, 865-888-TALK. That's 865-888-8255, because we're talking a little bit local, but it also has some national interest to it. Just because the sort of the whole story underlying this idea of our own Knox County Commissioner, Evelyn Gill, is something that's look, we deal with on a national level, we deal with all the time. And that idea being is your public servants, your public representatives in this representative republic that we have To what extent do we want to hold these people ethically, morally accountable? For something that may have happened before their election, may have happened during their election, may have happened after their election. Now, here's what we're talking about. Settlement has been reached for $93,000 in taxpayer funds, alleging that Knox County Commissioner Evelyn Gill abused a special needs student. The money from the settlement reached with the boys' parents will be used to cover their son's medical expenses, counseling, therapy sessions, educational expenses, according to court records. Now, if you have an opinion of this also, you want to get in the Facebook, they're talking about it there, just type in Real News Radio. All of our social media accounts, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Patreon for the podcast, all that stuff, wherever you go, just type in Real News Radio, you'll find us there. I'm lacking a little bit in my Instagram and Twitter game. I'm going to pick that up the next couple of days, been out of town and whatnot. Eric gets the South Park joke, says, hashtag fish sticks, that's exactly right. Also, our app, don't forget about that. Talk Radio 92.3 Knoxville. Talk Radio 92.3 Knoxville. Fill all those words in. Craig's saying, are we ever going to find out what the steps are to get more information that gives the federal government to spy on U.S. citizens? Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. One quick update here as well, too. We're going to talk maybe some point during this show, maybe tomorrow as well. Russia collusion, as that fades out. John Solomon over the Hill saying the Ukrainian plot to help Clinton emerges. Yes, the Ukrainian plot to help Clinton emerges. Trump said yesterday he's vowing now to release all of the documents on the FISA reports, all of the documents on the Gang of Eight, all the documents on the Woods trial, all the documents on the Carter Page stuff. And I said before, caller 1 at Crown Plaza call number. Hang on 2 seconds for me. Roz will get your screen here in just a minute. I said before, Trump was going to wait until the Mueller probe came out and then drop all this stuff. I think that's a fantastic move. Last story I kind of want to get to today as well is Rand Paul is now coming out saying, hey, by the way, if y'all didn't realize this, there's insider knowledge that was delivered to me yesterday or maybe even before that former CIA director John Brennan was one of the main individuals that was pushing the Obama administration to take this Steele dossier seriously. Christopher Steele himself couldn't even verify that document, by the way. But John Brennan, of all people, who now we're supposed to take seriously as a CNN pundit, he's the one. Back to the story at hand, though. I want some opinions on this. I think it's all interrelated. Knox County Commissioner Evelyn Gill. Here's what she's accused of doing, at least just portions of what she's accused of doing. The students' parents assert that Gill inflicted physical and psychological abuse in 2017 on their then 11-year-old son, who, and get this, has autism and severe schizophrenia. Physical and psychological abuse on an individual who has autism and severe schizophrenia. Among the specific accusations, quote, when the boy would rest his head on the back of a desk, Gill would pick up the desk and slam it on the ground, causing him to hit his head. Now, for any child anywhere, already, you have something that, in my opinion, what's the word? Deplorable? Despicable? Grotesque? I don't know. Whatever word you want to use. You're an educator. It is your charge in life to care for these children. I'm not speaking outside of my realm of expertise here either. I know what I'm talking about. Believe me, I've done it before. I've coached and trained children before. I've taught them in the ways of things that are good and moral and ethical and right. And what it means to be a strong, convicted man in this society, and what it means to be a strong, respected woman in this society. I know what I'm talking about. If you're talking about a regular, able-bodied individual, this is beyond reproach. But take a step back with me for a second. And now we're talking about an individual who has autism and severe schizophrenia. Picking up a desk where the kid was laying his head on the desk, as they're one to do. Laying his head on a desk. You pick up the desk and slam it on the ground, causing him to hit his head on the ground. This story goes on to say the parents think that the abuse began August 7, 2017, the first day of school, and lasted until Gill was placed on administrative leave September 5th amid an investigation by the Tennessee Department of Child Services. Now, part of this story goes on to say, and I want to be able to get this right, so I won't go there yet, but DCS launched its investigation August 18, 2017, after parents of the boys' classmates complained to school officials, the complaint said, and the department alerted the boys' parents of the probe. Let me read that paragraph one more time, and then we'll break it down chronologically so you can really understand the true impact of what this story is. DCS. All right, so we got a little kid dealing with autism, severe schizophrenia. Why? I don't need to explain what those two things are, right? Autism and severe schizophrenia. Suffice it to say, those two things coupled together usually tend to hamper an individual's ability to communicate properly. Meaning, if something was going on with this child, he would have a very difficult time, that individual, that poor child would have a very difficult time, that a little 11-year-old boy would have a very difficult time articulating to his parents that something was happening in the classroom. Do you understand what I'm saying? This paragraph, one more time. DCS launched its investigation August 18th, 2017, after parents of the boy's classmates complained to school's officials. And the department alerted the boy's parents of the probe. So, chronologically breaking this down, what I take from that is, this is how it went down. Current County Commissioner Evelyn Gill physically and psychologically abuses this boy. This boy, hampered because of his autism and his severe schizophrenia, has an inability, if you will, to communicate to his parents that something wrong is going on. Something problematic is happening to him in his classroom at the hand of his teacher. However, the other kids in the classroom start telling their parents about it. Because the other kids in the classroom start telling their parents about it, their parents get concerned on behalf of that poor little boy. They then take this to the school, and an investigation starts. And only after the investigation starts, the department then alert the parents of the actual individual for which the investigation is taking place. Can you imagine what this must be like as a parent? I'm not a parent. I can only imagine what it must be like as a parent. But for those of y'all that are parents out there, especially for those of y'all that are parents out there that might have a child that struggles with special needs, like I've said before, if you don't have the patience and the calling of a Gandhi mixed with a Mother Teresa mixed with Christ himself, stay away from these kids. Please, do us all a service. These kids are here for a reason. These kids are here to do nothing more than to pour joy into our lives, right? To give us a reason to exist, to give us better meaning in our lives, to give them better meaning in our lives. There's a reason why we call them special needs children, because in my opinion, they are the most special of all of us. I'm not saying that facetiously. I'm not. I've never seen the spark of divinity shine brighter in anybody in my entire life than I have in the special needs kids. You take that and exploit that. You take that and because it frustrates you. And if you're a parent that has a kid with special needs, if you have to find out after the fact because your own child couldn't tell you yourself, and I'm reading into this a little bit. I get it. Maybe this isn't how it went down, but this is what it sounds like to me. DCS launched an investigation August 18, 2017, after parents of the boy's classmates complained to the school officials. The department alerted the boy's parents of the probe then. If you're parents who has a kid that struggles with special needs and you have to figure it out from the school board because your own child was unable to tell you, either by way of fear or because you could just simply not put the words together, would that not add even further sting to it? We got to hit this first break right now. I'll come back and tell you where we're standing. Two questions, again, I want to bring up. If you have an opinion on Facebook or if you want to call and let me know, 865-888-TALK, 865-888-8255. Probably one more segment of this story. Two questions I have. First and foremost, can we relitigate this issue now? Do we have to wait until 2020 to bring this up again? Is it fair to bring this up again? If it is, do you support the movement by guy of Michael Covington who's trying to oust this individual right now? Here's this next headline, coming as of yesterday. 3:58 p.m. update. Knox County Commissioner Evelyn Gill named an ouster investigation request coming from Michael Covington. And should it matter to anybody that this Michael Covington individual also is a Republican that's seeking that same seat? Be right back with all this. What about the chat?
Hey, Craig, I don't know if you're still in here. Answering your question directly, are we ever going to find out what steps are to get the information that gives the federal government to spy on U.S. citizens? If I can be honest about my answer to that, I would say no. I know that sucks to hear, but look, man, I think of it this way. How long ago did Edward Snowden come out and reveal that information? What? Oh, no, I'm talking about Facebook. Yeah, I am a little bit. Well, look, you mean...
For all you know, I could have 2,000 people in here listening to me right now on Facebook.
True.
You don't know. I mean, unless you signed in and looked.
But I didn't yet.
Yeah.
But I know that's not true.
It's pretty close to 2,000.
Okay, then.
I'll say it this way. It's more than 5, but less than 2 million.
Oh.
It could be. Which, that is not an untrue statement.
Snap.
Yeah.
Snappity snap.
It's very true.
Yeah.
Snappity snap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Believe that.
I've been getting back into Rick and Morty again recently.
Did you?
Yeah. I just like to watch it sometimes.
You have... Oh, man, I started this... Do you have Hulu?
Yeah.
Have you heard of the show Harlots?
No?
It's about, it's back in, what, 1700s, 1800s, like back in the Jack the Ripper days.
Oh, interesting.
And they talk like this, they're all
Cult
from
name.
London. And, yeah, there's, 2 rival madams. And they, have these, whorehouses or whatever. And it's really good.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's really good. Every episode just gets better and better.
Is it a Hulu original? Where was it on?
It's on Hulu.
No, I mean, is it AMC or Fox or NBC? Or...
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It's just on Hulu.
I'll check that out.
It's really good.
I'm trying to wait for this new season of Into the Badlands to finish so I can watch that too.
Into what?
Yeah, it's a show that I'm sure everyone would never really get into. I'm really big into Kung Fu and the choreography in that is just...
no, not at all.
You're not?
No.
I love Kung Fu genre.
Not at all.
It's like a really intricate, coordinated dance that...
I know Kung Fu, but I
I know Kung Fu. It's my favorite line of the entire Matrix series. They unplug that thing from his head.
Yeah.
What is it like? I know Kung Fu. Show me.
I need somebody to make a parody to the Matrix.
Yeah.
For real. That would be hilarious. Oh, I'm going to play Kanye West's best song ever.
Oh, yeah. You know what episode I'm talking about, right? You like fish sticks?
Yes.
Yeah, I like fish sticks.
Downtown. For all of your spring battery needs, Master Battery.
Anyways, Craig, what I was saying is, after Edward Snowden came out with that information, however many years back, it had to be more than 10 years ago right now. I remember there was no more than 2 or 3 months later, they had a vote as to whether or not they should start repealing some of those powers. Congress didn't even vote on it. They didn't care.
Scoop-dee-dee-whoop. Whoop-dee-scoop-dee-poop. Poop.
Hey, that's our generation's Bob
Dylan right there. See, the thing is, you guys, you just don't know what he means when he's saying whoop-diddy-scoop.
Yes.
And most
then
people...
whoop-diddy-scoop-doo-poop.
Well, but see, most people think they know what he means when he's talking about poop, but it's not. It's
not.
No.
It's not.
It's not.
I don't get it.
It's like an interdimensional connectivity of everyone's fecal matter all together.
Right.
Right? So it's like a sense of collective consciousness. It's an upper pyramid, top trickle down. Right, you know what I'm saying?
I love that you get it.
Yeah, no, I know, yeah. So
you totally understand.
When he says whoop-diddy-scoop, he's talking about multiverse theory of scooping up fecal matter from interdimensional creatures, whoop-diddy-poop.
Yes.
Coming back here, we're all collected, same biological matter, carbon across carbon. You know what I'm saying? So Bob Dylan had nothing on Kanye West.
He made that song to show everybody how stupid this rap game is now. Really.
I honestly think that's what it was.
He really did.
Anyways, back to this Evelyn Gill story. Family filed suit. Quick catch up here for just doing this. Knox County Commissioner Evelyn Gill, still a Knox County Commissioner as far as I understand. She used to be a South Doe middle school teacher. Allegedly was physically, psychologically, verbally abusing a kid, special needs child. 11-year-old boy suffering from autism and severe schizophrenia. I suppose I'm reading into this, filling in the blanks a little bit, but one might presume that because of this child's schizophrenia and autism, he was not exactly able, either by way of fear or lack of capacity, was not able to articulate to his parents that something wrong was happening in his classroom. So the other children in the classroom told their parents then told the school then investigated, the investigators then told the parents. That's where we are now. So the family filed suit in U.S. District Court in August 2018, seeking damages for emotional distress and alleging their son's constitutional rights had been violated. Now, you want the answer to the question, why was it that $93,000 of taxpayer funds were used to settle this? And this is the reason why. The named defendants were Gill herself, obviously Knox County, the Knox County Board of Education School Superintendent Bob Thomas, South Doyle Middle School Principal Andrew Brown. Now, Gill did resign from Knox County Schools in 2017, but she remains a county commissioner. She did not file an answer to the lawsuit. That goes back to what John was saying in Facebook before. Probably, I would say, it's probably a legal strategy because it would have cost the county, it would have cost taxpayers much more money if she did file an answer and tried to fight it. And she declined to speak to reporters after the settlement. Now, the family's attorney, a guy named Jake Irwin, he couldn't be reached for comments either. Neither could apparently County Mayor Glenn Jacobs. I doubt I'll ask him about this on air tomorrow. He's supposed to be on the show, obviously, tomorrow. We'll get some other questions. The Less Real News audience wants to know what he thinks about it, but if he's going to stay mum to Knox News, I'm a little bit close to the chest playing this with Real News as well. This is some other stuff. Quote, "You're sorry as a kindergartner. The boy's parents first became wary of Gill before the school year began. During a meeting with the couple, Gill exhibited, quote, a very aggressive demeanor, and she asked the parents if they knew she was a county commissioner. She exhibited a very aggressive demeanor and asked the parents if they knew that she was a county commissioner, the complaint read. The parents expressed concern to Brown, the principal, but he was dismissive according to the complaint." Can I say right now, too, again, this is all in a complaint. It's a civil charge. Now, this has been proven in a court of criminal law. And I suppose by not filing an answer, maybe she just, it's a form of admitting it's not exactly a default. I get it, but if this is true, that someone comes up to you and says, do you know that I'm a county commissioner? Can I say, bro, look, I know county commissioners do a lot for us, but let's be real. If you're a county commissioner and you're going to name drop that you're a county commissioner, dude, that is the smallest amount of power that I've ever seen go to anybody's head in my entire life. Don't get me wrong. County commissioners serve a very, very important role, but I think I know a couple of county commissioners personally. We've had a multitude of them on this show. We've had several of them on the show that have run for the position and lost. I think most of them would agree with me. If you're letting the power of a county commissioner go to your head, you may be in the wrong field, man. Come on. It's not exactly political weight you can throw around, all right? Going on, when the parents would ask their son about South Doyle Middle School, the complaint said, he would put his hand over his mouth and say, "You're as sorry as a kindergartner." Let me read that one more time. When the parents would ask their son, so when the parents of this autistic kid that's suffering with severe schizophrenia, when they would ask him about South Doyle Middle School, he would put his hand over his mouth and say, "You're as sorry as a kindergartner." Now, this goes to my theory before that either he was afraid because he's been told before that you're as sorry as a kindergartner, or he just lacked the capacity to fully articulate what was happening in the classroom. He may have lacked the intellectual capacity to fully understand how problematic that was. Maybe that's not the best way. Maybe it's not lacking the intellectual capacity. What I mean is, maybe he was suffering with so much other stuff already. It was the threshold was so severe for him. He was on pins and needles all the time. It was just enough for him to survive in that situation. He really didn't want to add fuel to that fire. Goes on to say, the complaint alleged, because he is essentially nonverbal, the boy was unable to describe what was happening to him in the defendant Gill's classroom. Now getting to my final aspect of this, and then after this 30 break, I may move into something else. Next headline following the next day in Knox News. You have an opinion on this, want to carry it up for the next segment, 865-888-TALK, 865-888-8255. That's the Crown Plaza call number. Here's the headline. Knox County Commissioner Evelyn Gill named in ouster investigation request. A resident of Knox County Commissioner Evelyn Gill's district, mailed a letter to the county law director Tuesday asking him to initiate an ouster investigation, against Gill after the News Sentinel reported the county settled a lawsuit involving $93,000. Michael Covington is the individual's name. Michael Covington wrote the letter to law director Bud Armstrong, but as of Wednesday morning, Armstrong had not yet received it. What are we, Thursday morning this now? Covington emailed an electronic copy of the letter to the News Sentinel. Quote, Covington wrote, Miss Gill, by her actions, has shown that she lacks the character and temperament needed to function efficiently in her current role with the county. Covington is a Republican exploring the possibility of running against Gill in the next year's commission race. He is also a member of the county's ethics committee, but he filed the letter as a citizen, he said, Tuesday. Covington said he doesn't think Gill has done a good job in office, but this goes beyond that. Quote, this is an incident that suggests that we didn't really know her. She's not the person that was elected. This is not the person that people came to know before she got elected. Now, Gill is the only Democrat. I don't want to politicize this issue. I'm just literally reading what Knox News printed. Yeah, the next paragraph. Gill is the only Democrat on the 11-member commission. She could not be reached for comment Wednesday. She declined to speak to a reporter about the settlement before Monday's commission meeting. We'll hit this break right now, come back and recap this a little bit, see if anybody has an opinion on this story. If not, we'll move into some other national stuff, which I just find wonderful. 8:31, be right back.
Raj! Eric, yeah, I would punch this teacher. Does anybody know Evelyn, by the way? I mean, y'all are pretty connected locally. I need your phone real quick. I can't use it. I gotta call someone. I can't use mine. It's from Mevo. I'm not gonna do anything stupid on it. God, that scared me.
Oh my god. Hey, do you need that one that you gave me yesterday? But this one is Rich's that you gave me yesterday, right? The one that looks like this?
Yes,
Okay.
that one's mine.
Okay.
Do you have that one? The converter?
You gave me you gave me that yesterday.
All right, girl. Get out of my studio.
We didn't do a podcast though.
Why?
Because it took us 2 hours just to hook everything up. And we found out that we need 3 more cords.
3 more cords for what?
We need 1 more iRig. 3
One
more
iRig?
Yeah, man. Yeah, because we hear the audio, but we can't get the audio to record from the mixer or something like that to the computer. I don't know.
Sounds like help. It sounds like the setup to a joke. How many females does it take to set up an audio board?
Shut up. There's a lot of cords going on. There's a lot of cords going on. I feel like we need 3 more and another iRig.
I gotta come look what y'all are doing. I thought 1 would be enough.
I really do. I took a couple pictures, but I don't know. I don't get it.
Where y'all doing it?
My house.
Your house?
Yeah. I want to get 2 of these, the light things, and we want to get a sound. There's like a wall sound thing that you can put around you, so you'll soundproof yourself.
Just go get some of those egg crate shells. This is what we used to do when we were recording.
Egg crates?
Yeah, they used to ship eggs in these little like styrofoam things that they look like. I mean, they don't ship eggs in them, but they just like look like someone on Facebook. They look like little mounds. I'll find them on Amazon. You can buy like a crap ton of them for like $1 or something.
Oh, the ones that we were looking at to put on the wall. Remember?
Yeah.
Here.
Like my grandmother back in the day used to buy like pallets of them and put them on her mattress.
But this is the thing because we're gonna be going from my house to that studio, so we need things portable. So we need the wall to be portable.
You need to build a portable wall.
No, not a portal. Portable
wall, yeah.
No, you buy one from Amazon. You put it around you. You put it around the table. It's soundproof.
Oh my gosh, y'all are getting too crazy with it.
Keeps everything in there. No.
Get out of my studio.
No, because we're by windows and it echoes.
Go answer this person on line 1.
No. Go sit on there for an hour.
I'm gonna... By the way, y'all, if you didn't know, hang on, is anyone still here? Yeah, if y'all didn't know, Roz has a podcast going on now. It's very scandalous. It's called Bitchology. She does it with this girl named Dusty Coombs.
That's 691-1211.
The Markley and Van Camp Show.
There was a survey done asking if people lie on a regular basis. Not surprising, a lot of people said yes. We'll never really know because you could lie about the answer. But it was 53% of people said yeah. But when it got to the question of $325,000, it doesn't belong to you, but you found it.
Man, I'd be looking over my shoulder every single day for the rest of my life. The Markley and Van Camp Show. Weekday afternoons at noon on Talk Radio 92.3 and AM 760.
Weather from the FMT Insurance Studios of Talk Radio 92.3 and AM 760.
Lots of sunshine with a few fair weather clouds floating by today. Highs this afternoon in the upper 60s. Some may touch 70. Tonight we're in the mid-40s, partly cloudy, and partly cloudy tomorrow. Low 70s on Friday afternoon. Chance for showers comes late Saturday, early Sunday, and then we dry it out, cool it down. Highs in the 50s early next week. Check out Ripley's Aquarium at the Smokies and all 8 Ripley's attractions in Sevier County just in time for a spring break. It's Ripley's Aquarium at the Smokies included. From the 6th Storm Team, I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Hinken for the East Tennessee Weather Network.
It's 40 at Talk Radio 92.3 and AM 760.
International Flair Jewelers has moved next to the Shrimp Dock on Kingston Pike in Farragut. Call International Flair Jewelers at 777-1181.
Traffic from the FMT Insurance Studios of Talk Radio 92.3 and AM 760.
Well, they had a wreck a little bit earlier around 640 at Western. That's to the side, disabled vehicle southbound 75 to 640. The problems I've seen, the slowdowns including Alcoa Highway, inbound at Pellissippi Parkway north of Westland Drive, shouldn't surprise anybody. Still some light cycle slowdowns with work, Cedar Bluff at the interstate. National Fitness Center, Court South is my club. My family and I have been members for 40 years, and I want you to visit our club today. We can get you in shape at National Fitness Center. I'm Pete Michaels.
We are ending blindness caused by age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. AMD is the leading cause of blindness in people over 55, but with treatment, we can save vision for people with AMD. In some cases, we can reverse it. Help end blindness by calling the Foundation Fighting Blindness today at 1-800-BLINDNESS for a free packet on reversing or managing AMD. Or go to the website fightblindness.org, where I found so much helpful information. Or again, call 1-800-BLINDNESS today.
The views and opinions heard on the programs which air on Talk Radio 92.3 and AM 760 are those of the hosts and guests of those programs and not necessarily those of the station or management.
Thursday! Listen to me! It's Thursday, I swear!
I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off of it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop. And under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already.
That's going to get me copy. I'm going to get a strike right now. I am going to get copywritten strike. I am going to get kicked off air. Yeah, that's going to get me kicked off my Facebook.
I forgot to take that back off Facebook. Facebook, you're probably going down in a second thanks to JT. Justin Timberlake shutting down my Facebook because of their automatic algorithms. Figuring out what songs are copywritten. Copyrighted, whatever's correct. Hey, let's move into a bit of national stuff now. Unless you have an opinion on, be a 10-second recap of what we just talked about. If you're just joining us after this news break, we were talking about Knox County Commissioner Evelyn Gill. She was a South Doyle Middle School special needs teacher back in 2016, 2017. It was alleged that a 11-year-old boy there who suffered from autism, severe schizophrenia, was alleged that she was physically abusive, psychologically, verbally abusive to him as well, picking up his desk when he's laying his head on it, slamming back down, causing him to hit his head, a slew of other things. This kid was unable to properly articulate to his own parents that this was happening, so instead the rest of the kids in the classroom saw what was happening, told their parents went to the school about it, the school then decided to investigate, then after the fact, the investigators went and told the parents of the boy who was being abused. The parents sued. They ended up settling for $93,000 in taxpayer funds along with mediator funds and court costs. That's where we're sitting at now. The final update to this story is a guy named Michael Covington, who is Republican, who's also interested in running for that seat, has now filed an ouster request saying, hey, we don't need to wait until 2020 when this next election comes up. We need this lady gone now. I've been fairly clear about what my opinion. Now, my opinion as far as her being ousted or not, I don't know. I don't live in Knox County, anywhere in it. Is that the first time you've heard that? I don't think so. I have an opinion on Knox County politics, but I don't know. I mean, if I'm not speaking as a voter, y'all going to really listen to my opinion. Frankly speaking, the people listening to the airwaves right now, at least on terrestrial and otherwise, it's a little bit more y'all's opinion because you can actually do something about this, right? So what do you think? If you have an opinion on that, 865-888-TALK, 865-888-8255, let me know. If not, here's what I'm moving into now until we get to Conspiracy Theory Thursday in the next 20 minutes from now. Conspiracy Theory Thursday, we're talking about 5G technology. It's going to be an awesome one. I might even bring some clips up from Alex Jones, who's just going wild with this, man. Here's a headline I really like to touch on, and it's going to play very well into Rand Paul's new statement. Trump vows, this is Fox News headline. Get out of here, Sean Hannity. Sean Hannity ends up looking more and more like a potato the older he gets older. I mean, the older he gets, doesn't he? Just becomes a little bit more oblong each day. I guess I shouldn't be. I'm not really one to talk on that. Trump vows to release FISA documents now that Mueller probe is concluded and slams treasonous FBI. President Trump, in an exclusive wide-ranging interview Wednesday night with Fox News' Hannity, vowed to release the full, unredacted Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, known as FISA warrants, and related documents used by the FBI to probe his campaign, saying he wants to get to the bottom of how the long-running Russia collusion narrative began. Awesome. Awesome. Now, I said yesterday, and I was pretty clear, I'll take that back. I don't think I was necessarily clear enough about what my stance was of Republicans not being vindictive about this. We don't need to seek some type of revenge. I do not think this is seeking revenge. It's not. This is just being forthright with what actually happened. Seeking revenge would be to pull back previously litigated issues, or so they would say, about the Uranium One deal, which I want to see go down. The Clinton Foundation, their lack of disclosure for 3 solid years. I want to see that go down. What happened in Haiti with the Clinton Foundation? I want to see that go down. The email scandal, yet one more time, I want to see that go down. The Benghazi stuff, I want to see that go down. The pay-for-play that happened while Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State, I want to see that go down. I want to see what happened behind the scenes with the DNC when they basically stole the election for Bernie. I want to see what happened in Ukraine when every single thing that was said about the Russian investigation was actually happening in Ukraine. Do you realize, by the way, let me say this one more time for those that don't know, the Hillary Clinton campaign directed a staffer to go reach out to Ukrainian parliament members to specifically get salacious information on Donald Trump and Paul Manafort, and they did. And they did. The Hillary Clinton campaign directed a staffer to reach out to a foreign entity with the sole purpose of garnering opposition research to influence an election. That is literally exactly what Robert Mueller just got done looking into regarding Russia. To the T. And they did. Not only that, the Hillary Clinton campaign directed that same staffer to reach out to the president of Ukraine, and she did. Now, when this staffer reached out to Ukraine for a parliament member, that parliament member responded positively and met with that staffer. This is not a Russian honeypot lawyer meeting. This isn't a meeting where the parliament member sets something up and then pulled an ace card up the sleeve when the meeting actually went down. This staffer was directed by Hillary Clinton's campaign to go meet with the Ukrainian parliament member to garner opposition research, specifically in the Trump campaign, to influence an election in America. And the meeting went down and information was actually exchanged. This happened. Furthermore, that same staffer was directed to go reach out to the Ukrainian president, and she did. The difference there being is that the Ukrainian president didn't respond in kind. Now, you want to talk about an actual scandal. You want to talk about something that's worthy of a special counsel. That's worthy of a special counsel looking into. No, what's the Democrat retort on that? It wasn't Russia. Get out of here. Get out of here, man. Seriously. Get out of my country with that. You're telling me you're only going to be concerned, and I should be surprised by this, because let's be real. The people that really influenced this election to cause it to stir one way or another was not just the complicity with our own American media. The WikiLeaks showed us everything that the Democrat-run drive-bys, as Rush calls them, were doing. Everything. I'm talking giving questions ahead of time. I'm talking clearing stories, clearing points of analysis, clearing themes and thought lines with the Hillary Clinton campaign. What rhetoric, specific terminology can we and can we not use? Before I publish an article, let's run this by Hillary's people first and see if we can even use it. That all happened. So you're only concerned when it's Russia. You're not concerned about illegal immigrants possibly voting. You're not concerned about Mexican influence with our elections. You're not concerned about Ukrainian influence with our elections. You wouldn't be concerned about Japanese, German, English, Spanish, Portuguese influence with our election. What are you talking about, man? You're only concerned when it's Putin? So if I came to you right now and said that Mueller just found Mueller has substantial evidence indicating that Jared Kushner or Donald Trump Jr. was directed to go meet with a Russian parliament member, and they actually set that meeting up, and information was actually exchanged that was used to influence election, and then Jared Kushner was directed to go meet specifically with Vladimir Putin, and he actually requested that meeting for the sole purpose of garnering opposition research on Hillary Clinton, and they had substantial evidence of that. What do you think we'd be talking about right now? Impeachment. Impeachment. Are we talking about that with Hillary? No. That's not what I was talking about yesterday, though. What I was talking about yesterday is some of these Republicans are coming out right now saying we should relitigate all this old stuff that we've already been through. If we get a special counsel, let's get something that we haven't talked about before. Let's get something that we hit a slam home run on. And from day one, back to the story at hand, I've said, what is Trump doing? These QAnon folks have been driving me up the wall with just a red October. It's going to be a red November. It's going to be a red December. It's going to be a red January. It's going to be a red February. Bro, we're into March now. When is this red wave coming? When am I going to see these FISA documents? I want to know what happened with the gang invade. I want to know what the Wood Trail brought to me. I want to know how they were able to surveil on Carter Page for 2 solid years without going through the Fourth Amendment and finding nothing. You do realize they didn't charge Carter Page with a single solitary crime for 2 years. You could follow me for 24 hours and probably charge me with some federal crime. They followed this guy for 2 years and didn't charge him with anything. I want to know how that went down. But I've always said, Trump is a good strategery, as Bush would tell us. Trump was waiting for that exact moment where we have the political high ground, we have the moral high ground now. Republicans are right in what we've done. We've had a righteous, noble cause behind us. Trump is right. There was no collusion. Think about the past people. I am not a crook. It's the most famous thing in his presidency, right? I am not a crook. What's Trump going to be known for in 10 years from now? No collusion? There was no collusion. Nixon was wrong. Trump was right. You understand the difference? You understand the difference? If you don't know that this is a witch hunt now, I'm not sure what country you're living in or what news you're following. Trump had to wait until that was done, lest he spoil and taint the entirety of it. You can't poison that well ahead of time trying to push this FISA court stuff. You can't prove the nefarious intent unless you can show after the fact that there is nothing to cover up. If there is nothing to cover up, if there is no justice to obstruct, there's no underlying criminal charge, there's nothing you could obstruct to begin with. You have to establish that first. Then, when you try and prove after the fact that this was a fabricated reality, now you're no longer poisoning a well because there's no well left to poison. That thing has been tapped. It's run dry. You following me? The Mueller well is done. It's dry. There's dust pouring out of that right now. Now that it is dry, now we can come back because there's no well to poison. So Trump comes out and says, I will be releasing these FISA documents soon. Trump told this to anchor Sean Hannity, that his lawyers previously had advised him not to take that dramatic step out of fear that it could be considered obstruction of justice. What did I just say? Not anymore, though, is it? It's not anymore, though. We got a definitive answer. 8:50 in the morning, come back with a little bit more of this.
Facebook, I know you're going to hate this. I got to leave you on one more commercial break. I got to make one more call. And I don't want y'all to hear it.
The Lars Larson Show. Hey, Knoxville, it's Lars Larson. Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. The money you're paying now is going to people who are collecting now. You're hoping that by the time you hit Social Security age, the people paying then will be paying the check you receive then. The monies you paid out, those monies have long since been sent out in the form of checks to retired Americans. Weeknights at 7 on Talk Radio 92.3 and AM 760.
Here's a news flash from Dayton Hilton of Dayton's Pest Control.
Bedbugs have moved into this area, but don't worry, Dayton's is ready to help.
I hear that Dayton's is one of 2 bedbug-free trained companies in the state.
We are.
Dayton, please explain what your bedbug treatment entails.
Well, first, don't throw your bed, mattress, box springs, or couch away. And we don't require any prep to your house prior to arrival.
If you suspect you have bedbugs, call Dayton's at 588-6686 for an inspection and estimate. Dayton's reputation is your guarantee of quality.
Hey, Knoxville, it's Ben Shapiro. Beto is a man of the people who really understands because he travels around, you see. He travels around like a Johnny Appleseed of politics. He's a down-to-earth fellow who could simply afford to blow several years of his life wandering around after racking up debt at Columbia University, wandering around with a punk rock band, and then suddenly move into a historic 1915 3-story home, once occupied by Pancho Villa. Pretty amazing and inspiring, uplifting story of American mobility, you know. Weekday afternoons at 4 on Talk Radio 92.3 and AM 760.
Here's Dave Ramsey with today's Ramsey Reality Check. There's 2 or 3 factors, I think, that you could say the number one correlating thing with success is what? One of them is integrity. You know what the other one is perseverance. Typical millionaire has a GPA below 3.0 in college. Their ability to persevere, to not be denied, the ability to push through, there's just a high correlation between that and success. The Dave Ramsey Show, weekday afternoons, live at 2 on Talk Radio 92.3 and AM 760.
Mr. Electric of Knoxville is hiring experienced electricians. Call 272-2749. That's 272-2749. Online at MrElectric.com.
Traffic from the FMT Insurance Studios of Talk Radio 92.3 and AM 760.
Still the best news of the morning. No major secondaries blocked and no big wrecks. Now look, the weather's cooperating, but plenty of Thursday trucks. You'll see them feel that throughout the day. You're still trying to avoid some of the potholes, but believe me, TDOT, they're working as hard as they can to get them patched up where they can. It's an all-new exhibit at Ripley's Aquarium called Savage Seas, a force of destiny, destruction, and discovery. See Savage Seas, that exhibit now at Ripley's Aquarium in Gatlinburg. Have a great day, everybody. This is Pete Michaels.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
This is real news with the coffee pot. Dropping on Donald Trump's head, probably not.
$8:54 in the morning. Welcome back to Real News. I love Foo Fighters. And not just because he was one of my favorite drummers with... Come on, phone. Come on, phone. Yeah. Not just because he's one of my favorite drummers of all time either. Not just because, not because of that. I think he's a good songwriter, too. You know what I mean?
I like them because I always feel like they kind of like build you up in the song. They always just like, bah!
Yeah. That's a Dave Grohl way.
I love it.
Anyways, what we're talking about right now. Let's see. Craig says in Facebook. Is this right? Is this right? Yes, that's good. Craig says in Facebook here. The real scary question is how far does the corruption go in the FBI and CIA? Nobody's questioning why they wanted the Jesse Smollett case to be turned over to the FBI. Yeah, exactly, man. I mean, that was the other thing, too, is they were all the prosecutors were just like giddy, absolutely giddy about His case being turned over to the Justice Smollett case being turned over to the FBI. And it's relevant for what we're talking about right now with Trump talking about the release of this FISA court documents. Because I think what Craig is touching on, and even a little bit too, of where Bob says, Bob said on Facebook a second ago, I have requested Trump to play chess with me for quite a while. He's got to be a master chess player, dude. That's correct. Eric says, but that meeting was set up by the Clinton camp. Isn't that collusion? Yes, exactly. And there's all this stuff comes together. Everything from what Craig to Eric to Bob is saying. What they all mean is it seems like this is a systemic problem in the FBI. It doesn't necessarily seem like it's just sort of rogue players at the top, your John Brennans, your Andrew McCabe's, your James Comey's. It doesn't seem like it's a few rogue players. Because the more we start to figure out about these problems, the more we start to realize it's a culture behind these institutions. It's a culture that starts from the top and trickles down. It's a culture that starts with James Comey, trickles down to Andrew McCabe, that is now given allowance to go through to a Peter Strzok, that it now reverberates into, that's not even a word, but it now is allowed to seep into a Lisa Page. It's the whole lot of them, man. But I don't know what you do to solve that. What do? You just clean house? You just cut it down like a massive redwood and just hope something else sprouts in the back end of it? Now, what brought this entire story up, because we're going to go to Conspiracy Theory Thursday this next hour, Trump says he's going to release the FISA court documents, going on Sean Hannity, saying, I do have plans. I have plans to declassify and release them all. I have plans absolutely to release. I had some fairly talented people working for me, lawyers, and they didn't really want me to that early on. A lot of people wanted me to do it a long time ago. I'm glad I didn't, though. We got a great result without having to do it, but we will. One of the reasons that my lawyers didn't want me to do it is they said if I do it, they'll call it a form of obstruction. It wouldn't actually be a legal form of obstruction, but they will call it a form of obstruction. Trump added, frankly, thought it would be better if we held it to the end, but at the right time, we will be absolutely releasing it. Trump also went on to accuse FBI officials of committing treason. And I would have to tell you, President Trump, sometimes I think you take a little bit too many liberties with your words, sir. But that one right there, President Trump, I would absolutely agree with you. He accused some FBI officials of committing outright treason. What else are you going to call this? What else would you possibly call what went down? Weaponizing our own intelligence communities to relitigate a duly elected president in a representative republic, the greatest constitutional republic that has ever existed in all of human history. A few select individuals tried to rip that away from the American populace and the American people. What else are you going to call that aside from actual outright treason? He slammed former FBI Director James Comey as a terrible guy. Former CIA Director John Brennan is potentially mentally ill, and Democrat House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff is criminal. 8:58. Stick around for news, traffic, weather, all that. Be right back with Conspiracy Theory Thursday.
That's me in the spotlight, losing my sense. Trying to keep going, and I don't know if I can do it. Oh no, said too much. Why does she? Roz cuts that music before the chorus almost all the time, and I hate it. Roz is yelling at me to give her a phone. And I'm saying, no. It's mine now. Ow.
Give me my phone or I'll kick the Mevo.
Catch it.
Oh. I will. Catch. Throw it.
Hey, they're using 5G for mind control.
Scientific research. I definitely believe
Did
that.
you ever see Trinity and Beyond with William Shatner? I know you.
But let's start slow. Because you go over so many different things.
Hydrogen bombs trying to ignite the atmosphere in the 1960s.
Oh, no.
The U.S. Air Force tried to destroy the atmosphere in 1968.
Yes. Operation Starfish Prime. They actually detonated a nuclear bomb.
Psychotic.
They detonated a nuclear bomb in the upper atmosphere.
Trying to blow up the radiation bomb.
Yes, they've done a lot of goofy shit.
Well, see, that's the thing. That's why I got mad at you, and I love you. You're a smart guy and everything. Is I know you know.
Listen, you got mad at me because we didn't communicate.
You know all this stuff I know. You're even better at saying it. And then you sit there because you can't handle it, and you sit there and you dole it out.
It's not that I can't handle it. There's two factors. One, I don't have any time. I don't have enough time to go into it as much as you do.
You asked why I flipped out and got mad at you? That's it right there. Every time I bring up a fucking subject, you know all about it.
I don't know all about
You fucking know all about this shit.
I don't know all about
Bullshit.
this.
You're a smart guy.
Oh,
You know, like people that go, Joe's just dumb. Joe just is a pot. Bullshit. You know exactly what you're. I don't think you're a bad guy. You're trying to survive for you and your family and do good.
Okay, but
my family, your family, none of us are gonna make it. There's a post-human era coming. The breakaway civilization. The deal's been made. It's not.
Okay.
It's not in the third dimension. They've made frickin' deals with interdimensional aliens.
Okay,
and notice the media never attacks you for that because that's the truth.
Maybe this is true. I do not know this. And
We'll get into it.
Okay, I do not know this. Even these.
I only want to advertise to non-Christians. You know, this kind of information most people don't know has been gathered on them, and we want to make sure it is not used in an inappropriate way.
Facebook says it is surprised by the decision and that it's been working with HUD to address the concerns. The economy slowed down to a 2.2% growth rate in the fourth quarter of last year. That was just reported by the Commerce Department. And somebody's rich. There was one winning Powerball ticket sold in New Berlin, Wisconsin. The jackpot was up to $768 million. This is Fox News.
Hey guys, don't mind me as I interrupt your radio program. It's Sue Cosner, sexual health expert on men's performance in the bedroom. Do me a favor and don't touch that dial. That's a mistake. If you've been listening to this radio station, you've probably heard a compelling radio ad for Noxitril, the potent all-natural male enhancement pill. Men constantly reach out and ask me, does this Noxitril really work? Or is it just another scam product? I can tell you there's nothing better than Noxitril. I recommend this super pill to men everywhere. It will transform your life in the bedroom once and for all. Strong, powerful results that increase your blood flow fast. No prescription, no side effects. Just imagine Viagra on steroids. So call Noxitril now and take advantage of an incredible free bottle offer, shipped discreetly to your door.
To find out how to get a free bottle of Noxitril, call 800-993-0840, 800-993-0840. Free bottles for a limited time. Call now, 800-993-0840, 800-993-0840.
The head of the FAA is explaining and defending the agency's process for certifying aircraft.
Acting FAA Administrator Daniel Elwell says the FAA was fully involved in the process of certifying Boeing's 737 MAX aircraft,
including participation in 133 of the 297 flight tests.
And Elwell defended the practice of Boeing and other aircraft makers helping certify their planes, telling a Senate panel without the cooperation, the FAA would need thousands of more employees and more than $1 billion additional dollars. The FAA grounded the 737 MAX after a second deadly crash in 5 months, though Elwell would not detail conversations he had with President Trump leading up to that decision. On Capitol Hill, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
There are passengers stranded on both sides of the Atlantic, with the Icelandic airline WOW Air suddenly shutting down. The airline started in 2012, specializing in cheap flights between North America and Europe. Planes in at least 13 cities that were supposed to fly last night or this morning did not take off. A New York woman who was badly hurt by a frozen turkey thrown through her car windshield 15 years ago, broke every bone in her face. She's now died, suddenly and unexpectedly, according to her family.
Victoria Ravolo became known for her act of kindness after she was nearly killed when a teenager randomly tossed a frozen turkey through the windshield of her car in 2004. After the incident, she publicly forgave Ryan Cushing, the teen who was responsible, and even wrote a book called No Room for Vengeance. She also worked with prosecutors to grant clemency to Cushing. Ravolo's death was announced on her website and Facebook page, and she will be laid to rest on Long Island. Victoria Ravolo was 59. In New York, Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Maltese special forces intercepted a ship that had been hijacked by migrants that did not want to be returned to Libya. About a half hour ahead of the opening bell on Wall Street, Dow futures are up 12 points, and I'm Chris Foster. Fox News.
Want to be in the know about what's going on at Talk Radio 92.3 and AM 760? Join our Insiders Club at talkradio923.com. If you become a Talk Radio 92.3 and AM 760 insider, we'll send you emails with breaking news, programming updates, and of course our fun contests. It's totally free, so what are you waiting for? Head over to talkradio923.com and sign up under the Insiders banner on the front page. It's your all-access pass to Talk Radio 92.3 and AM 760. Talk you can trust.
One of the things I've noticed about Fox Toyota is the fact that a lot of people have the same testimony as I do. Hello, everyone. My name is Bob Bell. I work here at Talk Radio 92.3 and AM 760. And for the past 20 years, I've purchased as many as 5 different Toyotas from Fox Toyota. Whether it's a brand new Tacoma or a Camry or perhaps a pre-owned vehicle that's certified Toyota pre-owned, it's Fox Toyota in Clinton. See them today, exit 122 off I-75 North in beautiful Clinton, Tennessee.
Stock market's up, stock market's down. Invest in precious metals. Hi, Doug Elkins here for FMT, the Farmers Mutual of Tennessee. Sometimes you're just not sure what to invest in. Over the years, rental property has been a very safe and stable investment. With tax advantages, appreciation of your property, and the fact that many people would rather rent than own, make it very profitable. For over a decade, FMT Insurance has insured my rental homes in the case of an accident or some unexpected tragedy. As a mutual insurance company, which means they're owned and operated by their policyholders, they're always looking to save you money. I'm sure that's why Roberta called the other day when she heard about FMT Insurance on WTR 92.3. They saved Roberta over $100 per month on her home insurance, and she said she could not be happier with Farmers Mutual of Tennessee. They were so kind and courteous to her. Do what Roberta did and call FMT, the Farmers Mutual of Tennessee at 523-5153 or go online at fmtinsurance.com.
Weather from the FMT Insurance Studios of Talk Radio 92.3 and AM 7.
By the way, Facebook, I've been, I was in Nashville on Monday and Tuesday. Did the show yesterday. So we're back out to Nashville yesterday. Came back last night. Anyways, the point being is I've had a bunch of other stuff going on. That's the reason why the Instagram has been slow. YouTube channel has been posted up. The Patreon is slow. I'm taking care of all that today. We're going to get all that caught back up. Also, I'm starting something cool as well. The Gateway Groceries guys were in here yesterday, and we have so much fun off air, you know, in the halls and behind the studio and stuff. Patrick made the suggestion we should start a YouTube vlog on our Real News channel of just behind the scenes stuff, and like The Office, call it The Station. I was like, dude, that's a fantastic idea. So I've been shooting some clips of just random stuff around the studio, just showing what Roz's board looks like, showing what I see here that y'all can't see, showing how we interact with each other. So all that stuff's going to be up on Facebook too, just give you a little bit more of a window into the world that is the Real News stuff behind the scene. Maybe we'll make it into a vlog, I don't know. All that stuff's going up over the weekend though, so stay tuned to the Real News YouTube. I'm going to cut some other vignettes up over the weekend. Yeah. Oh, and Richard sent me this yesterday. Update on Recode. There's a meeting coming up. I'll tell you in a second. No, I got something.
Hey, it's 9:09 in the morning. You know what? You know how it's the morning? Don't look outside. Just trust there's an AM. Trust the digital takeover. You know what I mean? When 5G comes along, Roz, you won't even need a phone. It's just going to be directly.
5G's already out there.
Yeah. Well, actually, she's not lying. The 5G nodes are already out there. We'll get into this in just a second. Before I'm going to take Linus's call here, going a little bit further.
Dun, dun, dun.
The nodes are already out there. It's just there's not.
We should start it every Thursday.
They haven't put devices out on the market yet that are capable of picking up the 5G. That's not to say there's not devices that are. Well, I guess no, that's true. You're right that are commercially available. Yeah, for sure. There's already devices that are capable of picking up on this 5G. But as far as commercially available, what was the S10 is the most recent Samsung to come out. The XS is the most recent iPhone to come out. What they're capable of, the frequencies that they can actually pick up, only run 4G LTE. So commercial availability is only 4G LTE right now. But yeah, guaranteed, Tim Cook has some phone that could be running on 5G. I have no doubt.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, right, he's the guy that he's the CEO of Apple.
Oh.
Yeah. We'll get into that in just a second. Let me go straight to Linus's call here. A few housekeeping things. I was just telling Facebook off air. I was out of town Monday and Tuesday. Came back to the show Wednesday. Had to go back out of town Wednesday afternoon. Then got back into town late last night doing the show today. So that's part of the reason why Patreon's been a little bit slow with the audio version, commercial-free podcast of this. YouTube, I haven't updated as much as I needed to. Instagram and all the social media has been running a little bit slow. I will catch that back over the next day or two here, especially over the weekend. I also told Roz, I told Facebook, so I might as well tell this to everyone else too. We had the Gateway Grocery folks in here yesterday. John just said in Facebook, Tim Cook doesn't use 5G. He doesn't want to kill himself. That's probably true, buddy. That's probably true.
I believe that. I mean, Steve Jobs and what's that Bill Gates guy?
Yeah.
They didn't let their kids use it.
No, that's true. Apparently, Bill Gates doesn't even let his kids use devices without those blue light filter glasses.
Weird.
Yeah.
So what does he know that we don't?
Some of the eye doctors will tell you that the prolonged use of some of these screens, especially the OLED screens, can cause macular degeneration, which is a fairly debilitating situation. But I don't know, man. I don't know. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah, the Gateway Grocery guys were in here yesterday, and on the way out, he's like, man, y'all have a good time around here. He said, y'all should start doing a vlog instead of calling it The Office. Like, one of the cool things about The Office is it was like this sort of voyeuristic look into what goes on behind the scenes. It's like you get to be a part of something you shouldn't be a part of. He's like, y'all should call it the station. The station. And I was like, dude, that's a great idea. So I shot a few things yesterday of what Roz looks at the entire show and what I'm looking at the entire show, and just giving some people some other sort of
you have the best view in the house.
That's true.
Just saying.
I get to see Ross through the glass. So I'm going to put those, and I'm going to start the vlog series called The Station. We're going to put that up on our Real News Radio channel on YouTube. Anyways, I tell you, I've just been out of town so much this week and been dealing with so much of the nonsense. I've been a little bit slow on all the social media. When you ever find the social media, whether it's Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or YouTube, it's all the same tag. It's just Real News Radio, Real News Radio. You'll find us there. If you want to be into, hey, what goes on behind the scenes? What does Roz look like on this board? How does she handle all this stuff going on at the same time? Hey, with that being said, Crown Plaza call number 865-888-TALK, 865-888-8255. We're about to get into our Conspiracy Theory Thursday topic of the day, which is 5G technology. Before we do that, though, let's go to Linus hanging on the Crown Plaza call number for you. Again, one more time, if you have an opinion on any of this, 865-888-TALK, 888-8255. Linus, subheading here, says wants to go further in the commentary. What's on your mind, sir?
Well, as a side remark real quick, are you ready for your surgical interface yet?
No, I'm not, but I'm
That may be what's coming up. I saw a Russian on TV last night who had his information implanted in a chip in his thumb, and all he did was just swipe his thumb across stuff, and it knew who he was and what he had in the bank and what he wanted and the whole 9 yards.
Oh, Linus, there's companies right now in America that are actually paying their employees on a volunteer basis, but paying for the entire surgery to happen with that right now. In America, they put it in between your thumb and your index finger, right there in that little meaty part. They put it in right there. They say it's like the size of a grain of rice, and it has all that stuff in there.
Scary, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Wait till they start sticking stuff in your brain next.
I mean, you're talking like a little bit, I don't want to get too weird here, but you're talking like Mark of the Beast type scary stuff, man.
Exactly. What happens if somebody who's really evil gets control of the interfaces?
Yeah, Kelly says 5G lobotomy. That's a little bit what we're talking about, man. Kelly said in Facebook.
Yeah. Well, start asking yourself, where does surgical enhancement stop and dehumanization start? But in any case, I was listening to what you were saying earlier, and I saw Donald Trump on television the other day, and he was being interviewed. He was going somewhere, and the reporter said, do you think that this conspiracy may have started to get the FISA stuff may have run all the way to the West Wing? He said, I can't say anything about that, but you know the answer.
That's a total Trump answer, isn't it?
Absolutely. And then, if you take a look at that, and you take a look at some of the emails between Strzok and Page, where POTUS wants to know everything we're doing, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's starting to look very much to me like the whole investigation and the collusion stuff may have had backing from Obama.
No, and not only that, man, you got to think, too, when everyone wants to come out and say that Trump tried to poison the well beforehand, that he was excoriating Mueller, I don't think he was necessarily talking about Bob Mueller in person. I don't think it was a personal attack against Mueller. He made it a personal attack because he had to. It was the thing that made most sense at the time. What he was really saying, what Trump is really saying is the same thing when he comes out and says fake news. People are not ready to hear that Project Mockingbird is a very real thing, and it's still going on today. It's a very real thing, and it's still happening right now. We're talking full-on state-run media. People are not ready to hear that yet. What they are ready to hear is a simple term like fake news. Now, when Trump says fake news, what he's talking about is the full exposure of fabricated information that's created by some entity, intelligence or otherwise, that's then given to media to report as if it's real. That's what Trump means by fake news. It's the same thing when he's talking about here when he comes out and says Mueller, it's a witch hunt. Well, the witch hunt is exactly what's being revealed right now. It's just people aren't ready to hear what the actual witch hunt means. And, Roz, we got a caller on line 2 there as well. Just hang on line 2. But go ahead, Linus.
Well, anyway, as I was saying, when all this broke, and I watched the way the Democrats were all going in lockstep and how the press was right there behind them and all of that, it reminded me very much of a film I saw from World War II. Had a whole bunch of Japanese soldiers going banzai and waving their swords around as they vowed to die to protect their emperor. Well, their emperor in this case is Barack Obama. This is a very frightening thing. Well, one of the elements of Nazism is the personality cult. And you're looking at a personality cult.
Very interesting, man. Very interesting.
Nothing ever changes. It just sort of switches around. There's nothing new under the sun, and that is the truth.
Let me ask you this, though, Linus. It's interesting you say that because I want to know. You said nothing new ever is under the sun, and that is very true. Nothing ever changes. I'm wondering, though, if we're looking at sort of an Overton window shift. I'm wondering if there's a bit of a new paradigm. And I say that considering the Jussie Smollett situation going on right now and the fact that Michelle Obama had to get involved. It's the same tactics they've always used. I just don't know if they accounted for the availability of CCTV footage, the availability of digitized, monetary exchanges, the availability of people tweeting in an instant, the availability of access information.
Faster, but they haven't changed.
Oh, yeah, I hear you. And I get that. I do. And I don't know, man. I don't know. Something went awry there. You know what I mean? Something went awry, and it just feels like it feels like it's Bush League people trying to play in the NFL.
Kind of, yeah. But this stuff with Jussie Smollett is fascinating. This is the last gasp of the Obama administration you're looking at right here.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow this guy has got something on the Obamas because these people do not do things out of the goodness of their heart. It's just quid pro quo all the way. It's the way politics works. If they're willing to stick their necks out like this to save Jussie Smollett, Smollett's got dynamite in his pocket.
Yeah, that's the truth, right? Because who in the world is Smollett? Nobody knew this guy's name. Nobody. Even people that watched Empire didn't know what this guy's name was prior to this whole situation going down.
Pretty much. It's not that popular a show when you get right down to it.
No, man, it was about to go off the air the last 3 months anyways. They had terrible ratings. The ratings were tanking over the last 3 months. This Smollett stuff honestly might have revitalized the show. Nobody was watching that show.
No, they weren't. The point of fact is, I want to know what this guy knows. That's what I want to know. I have a nasty suspicion this is something disgusting and sexual.
Oh, and you mean what he knows, not just like what he knows that he paid some people to attack him. You're talking like what he knows as to who the real orchestrators were behind telling him what to do, who to contact, how to play this whole thing out. That's what you mean.
They tried to use him, and now they're trying to do something else to protect him. I don't think he thought all this stuff up on his own. He doesn't look that smart.
Come on, man. No, of course he didn't think all this stuff up. Linus, we got to hit this break, sir, right now, but I always appreciate hearing from you, buddy.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye, man. Hey, let's hit this break, come back with the 5G technology. Facebook's going crazy about this right now. I've been sent a bunch of stuff by Bob, by John, by Eric, by Kristen. Are you new, Kristen? He's been sending me a bunch of stuff. Kristen just dropped some knowledge on me, but Zoltan Istvan, Zoltan Istvan, is that how you say it? Someone will tell me how. Man, he's dropping a whole bunch of stuff on me right now. We're going to get into all this, come back. Ray's also bringing up a whole different conversation dealing with the Boeing Jetmaxes, I suppose. Planes falling out of the sky from 5G technology, talking 5G technology controlling your cars, bro. It is It is all-encompassing. We may not even have enough. I maybe should have started this at 8:30. We'll see when we come back. Be right back.
Yeah, yo, this 5G stuff, man, I'm telling you, it's friggin' terrifying. And I'm not even saying terrifying to the extent of, like, I'm not even saying terrifying because of the gene manipulation or the potential causing of cancer. I'm not even going that far yet. I'm just saying it's terrifying even for what's being projected right now of the whole idea behind 5G, by the way, as I'm sure you know. I may not play these clips on air, but the whole idea behind 5G is that it's all about low latency. A bit outside of my level of expertise, but I think I know what I'm talking about here. The idea of latency being is it's not more data transferred. It's the speed at which that data is transferred. So it's no lag, right? So what I'm saying right now, I think y'all are getting, I can watch this on Facebook, right? I'll do this for you right now. Picking up the hand, wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. All right, so a 25 to 30 second delay. I just counted it out for you. From the time that I actually picked that hand up in my real time to when I actually saw it come back on Facebook, what I understand the idea of 5G being is the latency between when I'm actually doing something and y'all are seeing it. Or for that matter, if I'm driving a Tesla, self-driving car, or if I'm flying one of these jet Max, these Boeing, whatever they're called, the Max planes. It's not a 30-second delay anymore. It's instantaneously. So if I pick up this hand right now, y'all are instantaneously seeing it while I'm doing it. Now think about the ramifications of that. In the medical community, it could be awesome. You could have the world's greatest surgeon remotely performing an operation on me through these Da Vinci machines that they're talking about in real time. You could also have someone driving a self-driving car, truck, Tesla, or otherwise, and immediately veer that in any particular direction. There's great opportunities for it. I mean, and look at the jets, the planes that have went down. I just read a report the other day. There was apparently a 40-second period where that catastrophe started and where the catastrophe actually came to full-on culmination. 40 seconds to where the operator of the plane, the pilot, could have done something to save the plane. The idea behind 5G is that the technology could take over and have no latency, being the time of which the data is actually delivered. Maybe it's a great thing. But for me, the ramifications of getting military involvement and the Chinese government pushing it is just...
5G is moving forward at full speed.
AT&T, Sprint, and T-Mobile all say that 5G technology is at the heart of their new corporate strategies.
It will allow us to do all kinds of stuff like streaming your favorite videos up to 100 times faster.
But the 5th generation of wireless connectivity has spurred a lot of rumors about its potential, some of which are less than accurate. We're going to separate fact from fiction and walk you through 5 of the biggest myths about 5G.
All right, so what that guy just
said there, I saw that video yesterday too, Roz. That guy talks about the 5 myths. He's not talking about the 5 myths that we're going to be talking about today. He's talking about the 5 myths of how early it's come. Yeah, I found that one. Oh, no. Yeah. No. Well, I find a little bit of it actually coming from RT, but what that guy in particular, the clip you just heard, he's talking about the 5 myths being, hang on.
Facebook, there's better audio for you. He's talking about the 5 myths being of how soon 5G technology is going to come to the market. Are our devices actually ready for it right now? What low latency actually is? Let me just give a quick rundown on just what 5G is, and then we'll run into the conspiracy theory. And I'm slightly outside of my level of expertise here. I will have to grant that ahead of time, so please bear with me if you're a tech person, if you're a tech insider, especially in this area with Oak Ridge. People know far more of what I'm talking about than I'm talking about right now. So please call in and correct me, 865-888-TALK, 865-888-8255. The way I understand 5G is this. Right now, we have something, we started with 3G, and then went to 4G, then went to 4G LTE. We have these massive cell phone towers that are pretty far away from each other. And the radio frequencies that they transmit are these very long, slow-moving waves. You can tell I'm speaking outside of my level of expertise. I get it. What 5G does is it shortens those waves, it compresses those waves together. So instead of looking like... I don't know, crest, low, crest, low, crest, low. Now it's crest, low, crest, low, crest, low. You get what I'm saying? Does that make sense? I'm trying to explain this I'm trying to articulate this some way in a visual manner so you can understand what I'm talking about. If you graph this out from left to right, the spectrum being large open waves as opposed to very, very compressed up, down, up, down, up, down waves. Now, to do that, instead of having these massive cell phone towers that are far away from each other, what they have to do is put these little 5G nodes closer together. And Crown Plaza call number on line 1. Hang on just a second for me. I'll get you screened here in just a second. Ray, I'm going to get to your call in just a second, too, because what you're bringing up is, man, getting to the point I'm talking about. These implications of 5G is just, man, it's terrifying. It's not even terrifying if you don't want to you don't have to go to the extent of gene manipulation and cancer and all this other stuff. Was it Kirsten? Hang on just a second. Let me find it again. John's giving me stuff. Kella's giving me stuff. Bob's giving me stuff. Kristen, I think, in Facebook's giving me stuff, too. Zoltan, here's another headline he sent me. Did you write this, Kristen? Who is this guy? It's the same guy's name. Did you author this? This is crazy. Why haven't I talked to you before? TheRundownLive.com. Synthetic telepathy allows you to think a message to someone. Oh, man. This is getting wild, y'all. This is awesome. Kristen messaged me. Tell me who you are. How did you write this? Synthetic telepathy allows you to think a message to someone. All right, so 5G, the way I understand this is instead of cell phones being separated far from each other because the frequencies have to be pushed so much together, that means that the nodes, probably not the best industry term, I don't know what other term to use, these little boxes they have to put out the 5G, they have to be much, much closer into proximity to each other, which means they have to put them on previously existing infrastructure. I'm talking telephone poles. I'm talking light poles in your neighborhood, in your community. Which obviously means it's going to start in major cities, which is already problematic in and of itself. And then it's eventually going to branch out into rural areas. So instead of having a massive cell phone tower here and then 30, 40, 50, 100 miles away, I don't know how far away they are from each other, probably less than that, you'll have another massive cell phone tower. Instead, what you'll have is a little box that looks to be about 2.5 to 3 feet tall, maybe has a circumference of about half a foot, and it's sitting at the top of a telephone pole, or it's sitting on top of a previously existing light pole. It's about that big. And it's usually painted with the same color scheme that's whatever it's sitting on top of. It looks fairly innocuous. If you didn't know what you were looking for, you might look just past it. But the idea being is because these nodes are closer together, they can transmit that information quicker. Now, from what I understand, 5G is not about transferring more data. What I understand, it's about low latency. It's about, and again, please tell me if I'm wrong, 865-888-TALK, that's 865-888-8255. It's about transferring data at a quicker level. I just did this for Facebook off air. I had this little prop in front of me in the studio. It's a little wooden hand. I picked up the wooden hand and then put it back down, and I counted on air. I was looking at myself in Facebook Live. I counted on air the time that it took me in real time to pick up the hand and put it back down as to when I saw myself in Facebook Live do that. It was about a 30-second delay. Now, what I understand the low latency being is there is no delay anymore. It's immediate. It's instantaneous. Now you could have great benefits. You could have one of the world's best, one of the foremost neurological surgeon in the world doing a surgery on me right now from Spain somewhere and have no latency. When he moves, they have these things called Da Vinci machines that are you can actually do very, very intricate surgery. Better probably than some surgeons could do, they say. He could do that without any lag at all. But it also means someone could, I don't know, potentially control something they shouldn't be controlling. Roz, give me about 3 minutes here. I know we have 2 until we give me about 3. Let me just set up where I'm coming from. This is from RT America. Fits pretty well within Conspiracy Theory Thursday. I'm going to start with the conspiracy theory, and then I'm going to roll back into, even if you don't believe in the conspiracy theory of what 5G is, believe that America and China are both racing for this technology, probably for the wrong reasons, but here we go.
Polly Boyko reporting to us there. The Thames. So what's the next big thing, by the way? It's called 5G. Have you heard of it? Everybody's talking about it. Frankly, I'm not the techiest guy in the world, so I actually had to Google it this afternoon to find out more about what 5G, what is 5G? So I looked at Wikipedia, and here's what I found out that Wikipedia says. 5G, according to Wikipedia, is the latest generation of cellular communications targeting high data rates, reduced latency, energy savings, cost reductions, higher system capacity, and massive connectivity. There you go. A bunch of big words that may mean something to you, maybe not. But it does sound impressive, right? Who wouldn't want all of that? Well, some might ask, there's got to be a catch. So joining us now is our correspondent, Michelle Greenstein, with the latest on 5G. And I guess the question would be that, here's the setup, ba-dum-bum, is there a catch?
There is just a small one. It might kill you.
Good to know.
So you'll find.
How so?
Well, a few days ago, actually, a group of scientists, doctors, environmental organizers, and concerned citizens got together and they called for.
Yeah, John just said a second ago he lost me at according to Wikipedia. You know, I think he lost most people. And John also understands this too. He's an extremely intelligent guy. I think he also knows the point of what he was doing is that 5G is one of those things that nobody knows anything about, and therein lies the problem. Therein lies the problem is that it's at this point, the train has left the station, and I believe the telecommunications companies are relying upon the fact that no one knows anything about this. Therefore, they can kind of just push forward with it.
The urgent stop to the deployment of 5G. They said that it's been proven harmful to human bodies, that this is an experiment on humanity, and that this should be called a crime under international law. Let's talk about today's technology, what we have going on today. Your phone is constantly sending electromagnetic fields in and out of each other. Whether or not you're receiving a notification right now, all of our digital tech sends this data back and forth, right, using these invisible microwave radiation signals, aka radio frequency radiation.
Right.
That's today's tech. We have every cell tower, every router constantly pulsing with radiation, whether or not you're using it. Science shows that this causes DNA damage, cancer, among other things. But don't take my word for it.
And that's just with 4G.
That's just with today's technology.
Before we get to
Correct.
5G, right now you got some of it, but not that much.
Let's listen to what Dr. Sharon Goldberg has to say. She's a clinical researcher and an internal medicine physician. This is what she has to say about what we're using today.
Wireless radiation has biological effects, period. This is no longer a subject for debate when you look at PubMed and the peer-reviewed literature. These effects are seen in all life forms: plants, animals, insects, microbes. In humans, we have clear evidence of cancer now. There is no question. We have evidence of DNA damage, cardiomyopathy, which is the precursor of congestive heart failure, neuropsychiatric effects.
So if 4G is already doing some of this, and I imagine if somebody walks around all day with their phone next to their head for hours upon end, they might be doing some damage to themselves. But let's get beyond 4G. How much more potentially dangerous will 5G be, and why?
Well, here's what's really dangerous about 5G. I mean, it's being sold to us as super awesome. You know, your toaster can talk to your door lock. It can talk to your self-driving car. Like, you have a thermostat in your home that knows when you're home. You have these smart homes. Like, it just really sold to us as being awesome. But the downside is that with this rollout, it will be impossible to exist in a city or to walk outside without being exposed. There's going to be a cell tower in front of every few houses. And this means that your personal choices, whether or not you personally use a cell phone or hold it 10 inches away from your head, that cannot escape you from your radiation exposure. So let's listen to what Dr. David Carpenter, another public health physician and actually a signatory to this international appeal, had to say. I asked him about the safety testing that's been done with this 5G rollout.
Okay.
There's been no safety testing of 5G. The reason I think that it's dangerous is that there isn't any specific information to 5G, but we know that radio frequency radiation of 3G and 4G are associated with a whole variety of different human health effects. Everyone is going to be exposed to radio frequency radiation more continuously and at higher intensities, and that's going to cause more human disease.
So if I was your
All right, it's a good place to leave it right there. So we just heard from two doctors. I don't know who these doctors are. It's Conspiracy Theory Thursday. We don't need to tell you about their credibility. These two doctors are now claiming that, look, there just hasn't been tests that have done. Moving from 3G to 4G, some outlets are going to say it was mostly about providing smartphone owners with a better browsing experience. Some outlets are now saying that 4G to 5G won't be as simple, though, as it's not just about smartphones and tablets, but it's about sort of expanding the entire ecosystem for multiple industries like automotive, home automation, air travel, the whole deal, each with different requirements into how the networks and standards are designed and constructed. 9:34 right now, a bit late on this break. Be back with more of this, then Race Call. Be right back.
Yeah, John, it's a potential problem or the potential solution. What's that movie? Scanner Darkly? You ever seen that movie?
Tours?
What's up? You know.
Wait, say that
100
again. You're talking from the Des Towers?
Okay, yeah, he does towers. So he gets up 100, 200 feet, and he's doing all these cables. He's doing all this tower and stuff. And I said, you should listen in. We're talking about 5G. He goes, oh, I'm not allowed to talk about that. I can lose my job. They told us that the first thing the meeting we had this year.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
I'm sure they
I was
did.
like, oh, no, I know you can't talk about it.
That's actually one of the clips I have pulled up here of a local affiliate talking about, don't worry, these people are putting up these 5Gs and they live in your neighborhoods. I'm like, yeah, okay. Like they would be allowed to talk about it anyways. Come on, bro.
Yeah. So I don't know if you want to touch on that or pull up a clip or something like that, but that tells you something too.
Yeah, no, I got a clip here that would probably be good for it. All right, girl.
Okay, boy.
Sweep.
Yeah.
Puss.
A better bank look like? It starts with
G uses high frequent. He leads AT&T's efforts. If you don't already have one of these in your neighborhood, they're coming. To build its own 5G. 5G, this is the future right here. Equipment across the U.S. needs to change. 5G world can become reality. This one needs to change. 5G requires the installation of new. This one needs to change.
Y'all know that movie I'm talking about, Scanner Darkly? Anybody seen that movie?
Bears, I can see right. This group is covering over all the signs they would have otherwise left, thus devised in their thoroughness. You're an idiot.
What's that? Huh? Come here, look at this.
Oh, it's still hot cigarette, buddy. Sure is. Wait a second. They lit a joint while they were here, Bob. Bucket Bears is right. There was somebody here. This roach is still hot. Smell it.
Yes. And that roach may not have been left here by accident. This evidence may not be a slip-up.
So what now?
Maybe they were here specifically to plant drugs in the house, setting us up and then phoning in a tip later. It could be in the phone. It could be in the wallet outlets. We're going to have to go through this house and get it absolutely clean before they phone us in, unless they already have. We might only have minutes.
Here you go, Eric.
City Hall, death and taxes. Don't talk about politics or religion. This is all the equivalent of enemy propaganda rolling across the picket line. Lay down, GI, lay down, GI. We saw it all through the 20th century. And now in the 21st century, it's time to stand up and realize that we should not allow ourselves to be crammed into this rat maze. We should not submit to dehumanization. I don't know about you, but I'm concerned with what's happening in this world. I'm concerned with the structure. I'm concerned with the systems of control. Those that control my life and those that seek to control it even more. I want freedom. That's what I want. And that's what you should want. It's up to each and every one of us to turn loose just some of the greed, the hatred, the envy, and yes, the insecurities. Because that is the central mode of control. Make us feel pathetic, small. So we'll willingly give up our sovereignty, our liberty, our destiny. We have got to realize that we're being conditioned on a mass scale. Start challenging this corporate slave state. The 21st century is going to be a new century. Not the century of slavery, not the century of lies and issues with no significance. The state is...
Come on, find it.
then mankind, at the development of its interaction with the environment. Evolution of the organism will begin with the evolution of life, proceed through the hominid, coming to the evolution of mankind, Neanderthal, Cro-Magnon development. You have to look, if we're looking at the highlights of human development, you have to look at the evolution of the organism and then at the development of its interaction with the environment. Evolution of the organism will begin with the evolution of life, proceed through the hominid, coming to the evolution of mankind, Neanderthal, Cro-Magnon man. Now, interestingly, what you're looking at here are three strains: biological, anthropological, development of cities, cultures, and culture, which is human expression. Now, what you've seen here...
Sit tight, because the future of gaming and everything else is about to change forever. If you look up into the corner of your phone, you're probably used to seeing a little indicator that says 4G LTE, or 3G, or God forbid, 2G. And you've come to understand that it probably has something to do with your phone's connection to your mobile network. The higher the G, the faster the connection. It's pretty easy to follow. The G stands for generation, and each subsequent generation refers to a specific minimum speed, connectivity, and reliability necessary to classify that network as a particular generation. 1G let us talk to each other. 2G let us send messages. 3G gave us broad data and internet, and 4G LTE made it a whole lot faster. But all that's in the soon-to-be past, because up on the horizon is 5G. And while you may be thinking that 5G is just a little faster, a little more reliable, and a little newer, it's actually a massive breakthrough that's going to change the way devices connect to the internet, and more importantly, to each other. In fact, as 5G rolls out over the next 2 years...
9:41 in the morning. Welcome back to Real News, ladies and gentlemen. Ray, let me play two clips here. I think these pair together very, very well. I'm making an overall point. What we're talking about, by the way, is 5G technology coming. A lot of people are saying, not a lot of people, some of your conspiracy theorists possibly, some of these people that are legitimate reporters are saying, hey, 3G to 4G was really just about a jump of making our browsers more usable. 4G to 4G LTE, probably same thing. 4G LTE to 5G might be doing something a little bit different. My biggest concern about that, though, is the clip that I may not even be able to get to today. My biggest concern is that the Chinese government is using a company called Huawei, which, let's be honest, Huawei's CFO was the same individual that was just arrested in Canada a few months back for trying to bypass U.S. sanctions on Iran and do some deal. Okay, Huawei is nothing more than a propped up Chinese government front. That's exactly what it is. Just like the mobs ran their front, let's be honest, Huawei is nothing more than the Chinese government funneling subsidized money through that company to make sure that the Chinese government is at the forefront of this new technological push. I just told you before, I heard on NPR yesterday, that in Thailand, the Chinese government is basically installing 5G systems around there, kind of without with the people from Thailand even wanting it. China is desperately trying to make this push because it's not just about your stupid cell phones, y'all. It's about literally everything that is connected through a data packet transfer at all. Any of it, all of it. And you have to think about the massive implications. Yes, it's about self-driving cars. Yes, it's about ability to manipulate possible planes flying around. Most importantly for me, however, it's about drones. It's about jets. It's about tanks. It's about men on the ground. It's about communication abilities for modern warfare, future warfare. Whoever controls that next evolutionary step in warfare technology is probably going to be the person with the biggest stick. Whoever has the biggest stick is probably going to be the person that's the world reigning superpower. That's what I'm talking about. That is not a conspiracy theory. That is happening right now. Go look up the Chinese program. What's it called? Facebook, tell me. Whatever road they're developing. I should know this right now, man. I talk about it all the time. Someone on Facebook tell me the Chinese road that they're talking about, of means of production, of facilities of production, of gaining 5G technology, being at the forefront of literally everything. And because they exploit their population to do so and use the means of communism to just shove it down the world's throat, America now has no other option but to play ball and try and fight back. Ray, give me 2.5 to 4 minutes here to make this point. Ross, can I get this computer going? This is a report from CBS Morning, talking about exactly what we're talking about right now, potential health concerns raised. And then I want to play a clip from a very, very interesting movie called A Waking Life, talking about the telescopic evolution of technology. Here we go.
5G requires the installation of new equipment across the U.S.
So this pole here is 5G. This is the future right here.
You got it.
Every wireless company is working to build its own 5G network. Melissa Arnoldi leads AT&T's efforts.
If you don't already have one of these in your neighborhood, they're coming.
That's absolutely right. They're coming.
She says 5G uses high-frequency waves that support faster speeds, but don't travel as far as current wireless frequencies. So instead of relying on large cell phone towers spread far apart, they need small cell sites that are much closer together.
We're going to use our existing infrastructure today, whether it's light poles, whether it's street lights. We're going to make sure that we don't make it obtrusive to our customers and to the citizens.
Yet some don't share the enthusiasm.
The cell towers are called small cell towers, but they're not so small when they're in your front yard.
Donna Barron is protesting plans to convert light poles in her Montgomery County, Maryland neighborhood into small cell sites.
This will cause cancer.
She was one of several people who raised health concerns at a government hearing last month.
This stuff is untested on kids. Their safety is not certain. These untested technologies are, at this time, not ready to be unleashed into our lives.
Cell phone equipment emits radiation, but research on its health effects has been inconsistent. According to the National Cancer Institute, a limited number of studies have shown some evidence of statistical association of cell phone use and brain tumor risks, but most studies have found no association.
If you lose this fight in a...
All right, now let me play this. This next part I'm about to play is a little bit difficult to follow. It is. This guy speaks quick. He uses some very, some big old words. But the point that he's making here is that we are on an inevitable train either to destroy ourselves or to create a utopia. It's possibly one of those two options. The former seems much more likely than the latter. What I believe this guy is talking about is humanity's propensity to have this telescopic evolution, not just of technology, but of our own creations. And sometimes I think we get a little bit we get over our skis, out in front of our skis too much. And we start doing things before we even consider the question of should we be doing things. We start manipulating human genomes before China even asks the question, should they? We start making CRISPR babies before anybody even asks the question, is this playing God, or even should we consider playing God? Just because we have the capacity and capabilities to do something, that doesn't necessarily mean that we should do that thing. Listen to this.
If we're looking at the highlights of human development, you have to look at the evolution of the organism and then at the development of its interaction with the environment. Evolution of the organism will begin with the evolution of life, proceed through the hominid, coming to the evolution of mankind, Neanderthal, Cro-Magnon man. Now, interestingly, what you're looking at here are three strains: biological, anthropological, development of cities, cultures, and cultural, which is human expression. Now, what you've seen here is the evolution of populations, not so much the evolution of individuals. And in addition, if you look at the timescales that's involved here, 2 billion years for life, 6 million years for the hominid, 100,000 years for mankind as we know it, you're beginning to see the telescoping nature of the evolutionary paradigm. And then when you get to agriculture, when you get to scientific revolution and industrial revolution, you're looking at 10,000 years, 400 years, 150 years. You're seeing a further telescoping of this evolutionary time. What that means is that as we go through the new evolution, it's going to telescope to the point we should be able to see it manifest itself within our lifetime, within a generation. The new evolution stems from information, and it stems from two types of information, digital and analog. The digital is artificial intelligence. The analog results from molecular biology, the cloning of the organism, and you knit the two together with neurobiology. Before, under the old evolutionary paradigm, one would die and the other would grow and dominate. But under the new paradigm, they would exist as a mutually supportive, non-competitive grouping, okay, independent from the external. And what is interesting here is that evolution now becomes an individually centered process, emanating from the needs and the desires of the individual, and not an external process, a passive process where the individual is just at the whim of the collective.
How?
So, you produce a neo-human, okay, with a new individuality, a new consciousness. But that's only the beginning of the evolutionary cycle, because as the next cycle proceeds, the input is now this new intelligence. As intelligence piles on intelligence, as ability piles on ability, the speed changes. Until what? Until you reach a crescendo. In a way, could be imagined as an almost instantaneous fulfillment of human and neo-human potential. It could be something.
You know, see, here's the problem, though. Here's the problem. The one question he never answers for me that he just seemingly glosses over, and this guy's far more intelligent than I ever pretend to be. But that transition from a biological component into an analog component, he calls it, into a digital component. Somehow, we need to try and remove this tooth and nail scenario by which evolution has worked out for billions upon billions of years. The survival of the fittest paradigm. This idea that I survive because you are weaker than me. The idea that I survive because I am better than you. That's what he didn't posit for me. There's some weird sort of utopian aspect of what he just described, that the pursuit in and of itself is somehow noble because it's inevitable. This telescoping of evolution, this combination of AI, the new digital, with the old school analog of you and me, flesh, blood, that type of thing, is an inevitable situation that's we're going to come through. Now, 5G is just one of the first experiments into that. This idea of uploading consciousness into something greater than ourselves, uploading our consciousness, which is really nothing more than random chaotic synaptic firings back and forth, that my consciousness could be replicated somehow in some CPU somewhere. Now, the problem with that, though, is then what's to say that the other version of something that I create is not going to come back at me and say, hey, just like every evolutionary species before you, why does your existence matter to me? But the bigger point that he's making is what he said before, is within generations from now, within our generation possibly, this telescoping of evolution, it's getting faster and quicker and replicating upon itself. We now have a new cell phone, which used to be every 4 years and now every 2 years. Which used to be every 2 years and now every year. And mark my words, a brand new cell phone could potentially come out now, if the market would allow for it, every 6 months, every 2 months. We're making improvements in technology with these processors and these cell phones every 2 weeks. We could see the culminations of something ridiculous. 5G is just the first thing they're rolling out, man. They're already working on 7, 8, 10, 15G, whatever that means. 9:51. Hit this break, come back with the Ray's call, because I've been making him hang on so long. Be right back.
Yeah, dude. Transhumanist stuff, man. It's... That's a Noah's Ark, y'all. I swear, dude, that's how they're pitching it. That's how they're pitching it, is this Noah's Ark, man. And I'm fearful that those that are trying to build the boat are actually the ones that are causing the flood. I'm telling you.
Something totally different. It could be the amplification of the individual, the multiplication of individual existences, parallel existences, now with the individual no longer restricted by time and space. And the manifestations of this neo-human type evolution, manifestations could be dramatically counterintuitive. That's the interesting part. The old evolution is cold, it's sterile, it's efficient, okay? And its manifestations of those, social adaptation. You're talking about parasitism, dominance, morality, okay? War, predation. These will be subject to de-emphasis. These will be subject to de-evolution. The new evolutionary paradigm will give us the human traits of truth, of loyalty, of justice, of freedom.
Why?
These will be manifestations of the new evolution. And that is what we would hope to see.
See, that's what I'm not following. Why? Just because you say so? Because we program it to do so? I don't know. And it's such a like he's being a bit disingenuous to not at least acknowledge that there's not some subjective component as to what justice even is. Or what nobility even is. What did he just say?
These will be subject to de-evolution. The new evolutionary paradigm will give us the human traits of truth, of loyalty, of justice.
So that's what I'm saying. Truth, loyalty, and justice means something totally different to a person in California than it means to a person in Tennessee. So who then is to say which paradigms of truth, loyalty, and justice are put at the forefront of this new AI development? Is the people creating the AI? What's considered justice in Rwanda may not be considered justice in I don't know, Kentucky. Unless everybody agrees on what that objective standard is of morality or ethics or whatever else, I don't know how you push the supposed objective standard if we don't know what the objective standard is.
Evolution is cold, it's sterile, it's intuitive. That's the interesting human type.
Welcome back to Real News, ladies and gentlemen.
Let me play this for 2 seconds here. Come on, calm down. 2 seconds here, Roz. Literally about 20 seconds I'll get the Ray's call here. Yeah, Ray's been hanging on. I know, I just got to get this here. Give me this computer. Here we go.
Evolution.
Yeah.
manifestations could be dramatically counterintuitive. That's the interesting part. The old evolution is cold, it's sterile, it's efficient, okay? And its manifestations are those of social adaptation. You're talking about parasitism, dominance, morality, okay? War, predation. These would be subject to de-emphasis. These would be subject to de-evolution. The new evolutionary paradigm will give us the human traits of truth, of loyalty, of justice, of freedom. These will be the manifestations of the new evolution.
Here's my problem, though, man. Here's my problem. Talking about going forward with 5G technology, talking about whatever this new evolution of mankind is, I think we can all get in the same scale saying that murder, parasitism, world hunger, famine, these are all bad things, objectively speaking. That's fine. And those will be subject to de-evolution. That's okay. But then when you get to the product of what's subject to more evolution, what's subject to focus on more, of justice, of truth, of righteousness, of nobility, there's a subjective component to that. A version of justice in California might be different than a version of justice in Tennessee. Most certainly, a version of truth in Rwanda is going to be different than a version of truth in Tennessee. Unless we agree upon what that objective standard of morality, ethics, truth, all this stuff is that should be subject to more evolution. It seems like the people creating this AI are the ones that are building Noah's Ark, but I'm fearful that they're the ones that are actually causing the flood. Go to Ray. Ray, man, I'll just give you the last 3 minutes of the show here, man. I won't even interrupt, man. Go ahead.
It's okay. We have zero latency here this morning, Mr. This is great. But you're real close, but the bandwidth is not up and down. It's wide and narrow.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
And,
you're right.
Yeah. And when you get that, the 300,000 megahertz range is where we're talking about with the 5G. And that's what's considered by the FCC as public domain. And it's not that 5G is new. What's new with 5G is we can now introduce artificial intelligence to our mobile IP devices. Mobile IP devices being anything from a TIC to a GPS to your cell phone sending a signal. You're doing it over the web. And it's an IP-based device that they're going to introduce artificial intelligence. Just a little conspiracy I believe the Boeing planes are introducing with this. But to go back to the beginning of 5G, it was the South Korean Olympics and how the North Korea-South Korea relationship was going on through there. It basically, like Mark-Leon Van Camp, when dictator Kim Jong-un seen the capabilities of 5G, it's like he saw color for the first time.
Wow.
And when he's getting to understand that the machines that he wants to play with can also interact with the humans that he wants to live with, he's seeing this kind of world develop.
At near human reactionary speed, man. That's what the scientists I've heard is saying. Like, okay, think about it this way. Your data transfer between a cell phone and another one could be near human reactionary speed. I'm talking at the blink of an eye type speed. I'm talking if Roz throws me a football right now, the time it takes me to react and catch that is the same time it would take this technology.
Yes, absolutely. And having that zero latency is crucial. Now, if we're dealing with the public bandwidth and all of that, it leaves the rest of the airwaves to deal with. I know in 2010, the federal government, under Bush's rules, he started it, Barack Obama completed it. The 800,000 bandwidth over the air is strictly government use. They only use that for themselves. And from what I understand about the 800,000 bandwidth, it's a very malleable bandwidth. You could bend it around things. You could hit your target basically by going around the mountain instead of what the public domain is trying to do. They're trying to shoot it through the mountain to get to their target. And when we get that artificial intelligence put onto our web through our mobile devices, it bogs it down. And when we bog it down like that, the only way that they can get it is by increasing the spike height.
Right. But we got to end the show here, man. Unfortunately, it's going to cut us off here. But I always appreciate hearing from you, man. We'll talk to you soon, buddy.
You got it.
There goes Ray. 9:58 in the morning, news, traffic, weather, all that. I figured we should have started this probably about 8:30. I had some other stuff I needed to get to, though. It was a good show today, I thought. Hey, stick around for Glenn Beck. All that other cool stuff. We'll be back tomorrow on Friday doing it big with Glenn Jacobs. If you're the good guest, be back tomorrow.
All right, Facebook. Man, it's gonna be a suck day. I got some stuff I gotta do. I'm gonna end it there. Hopefully, y'all. I thought it was a pretty good one today. Tomorrow, Glenn Jacobs, like I said. A few other folks. Yeah, man. Love y'all as always. Huawei is China. That's right. That's right. There's a little Chinese figures for you, Ray. Look at those cute little guys. Look, Ray. Hang on. Y'all gonna say you afraid of this little panda here? That panda ain't never do nothing to hurt nobody. Look at him. Hey guys. What about this guy? You like this guy better? He looks like one of those guys from that monster movie. Right, see him? Yeah, I like him too. All right. I'll see y'all tomorrow. You're the best. Love y'all.